So welcome back here to the GS Bowl. It's outside Southampton, of course. A bit cloudy, a breeze blowing, but we've had a full day's cricket so far, and it's been West Indies who have dominated it for sure. They have lost 2 wickets, but they're still only now 45 runs behind, and they've got 7 wickets left, so a very good position for them. At 159 for 3, they've lost Shai Hope for 16. Very nicely caught by Stokes at slip as he drove at Bess. So that was 102 for 2. That was after 45 been added this morning. And then Craig Brathwaite, LBW to Stokes. I think Stokes thought it was plumber than it actually was, because he didn't really seem to appeal to start with. And he went back and gave it a second go. The finger was raised. There were 2 umpires' calls came up, the yellow flag. And because Brathwaite had been given out, therefore he had to go, but he didn't look very happy. And it's one I know that I think a lot of batsmen, when they dismiss that way, do chunter a bit. Out for 65. And that was 140 for 3. And as they took lunch, and Chase was on 13, and Brooks looking very well set actually on 27, not out. The umpires are appearing any minute now. The England players are down there on the boundary edge. And that first session, Carlos Brathwaite goes to the West Indies.
Definitely.
No doubt about that.
Definitely, very well done. A very testing half hour with Wood and Anderson hitting the straps, Wood at 90 odd miles an hour, and you can see the determination and the will from Hope and Brathwaite to see out that first half hour. They did. Unfortunately, Shea lost his wicket. But let's talk about the reviews.
Are you getting cross?
It's frustrating, man, Aggers. To be honest, we've had 8 decisions against the West Indies, and yesterday it was talk of the efficiency of Jason using his reviews, having them overturned. And when you look at 3 of the LBWs, you talk about Burns, Jofra, and I think it was Crawley.
Yes,
I think Zach Crawley got those look stonewall dead. You could probably say Burns, it looked as though it was sliding down leg. Obviously with the shuffle, he was hit plumb in front. But the one for Craig Brathwaite, not a chance.
Two umpires' calls suggests that the batsman hasn't really had the benefit of the doubt, in my
Correct,
mind.
and you talk about having the benefit of the doubt as the batsman. I mean, the DRS's work to treat, and obviously if it was on the West Indies side, they'd be happy. A 50-50 would have gone the bowling side's way. But for me, it is the first call by the umpire. Why every time we bowl, we have to use the review because it's given not out. When we're batting, it's all of a sudden given out. And it's just frustrating because, as I said yesterday at the end of play, imagine the ball being a millimetre each side and it being umpire's call. Then all 3 of those wickets would have been lost, and the batsman would have kept on batting.
What's interesting is this is why neutral umpires were brought in. There's any thought, and I know you're not suggesting this, but any thought of bias is removed as soon as you have neutral umpires, and they've given each team an extra review in this. All I will say, to be fair, is that the umpires are as rusty as the players are.
But I guess it goes further than just the umpires, because as you rightfully said, to say neutral umpires would be to suggest bias, and I know Kettleborough just a bit, so I'm not accusing them of being biased, but we had last year in the World Cup, Mitchell Starc was over by a foot and a half the ball before Chris got out, and if Chris Gayle, if that had been a no ball, then the ball subsequently obviously would have been a free hit and he wouldn't have been out. And it's just happening year after year. I remember a series in Sharjah, and one thing the players on the field don't like is not to know what is happening throughout the process. So I always said once I'm subbing, I would give some feedback. And when I saw it, it was Stonewall dead, and I was there giving them the finger, and they started to celebrate. And then it showed umpire's call, not out, and it was just so embarrassing for me and just so frustrating for the guys that fielding. So I mean, why can't we have the rub of the green from time to time?
Does everyone? Do you think the players trust the technology?
Not fully. But again, for me, the technology worked to treat there, because if it's umpire's call, it's umpire's call. Scientifically, it wasn't hitting far enough outside or whatever. My thing is always the judgment from the umpire. And for John Campbell's second LBW shout, I was saying that was out. He left the ball alone, it dragged back. And in an instance like that, I guess the arse worked for us. But again, he was given out. You look at Craig Brathwaite, ball hitting above the knee roll on or just outside the off stump, however you call it, it doesn't look out, or at least it looked as though there can be enough doubt to say not out. Why not say not out and let England use their review and then get it changed?
Yeah, it's always a talking point in a debate, isn't it? The whole question. Where I am totally in agreement with you is about the no balls, and it frustrates me enormously that umpires don't call no balls. It's just not right. It's not right for, well, the batting side that should get a run, or in that case a free hit. It's not fair on the bowler who doesn't know where his front foot's landing. He gets a wicket and suddenly it's a no ball, and the umpire hasn't been calling him no balls, and that is a frustration for me. I think the umpires have more or less given up looking at the front foot. They just look down at the end because they know if a wicket falls, it'll be checked, and then if it's a no ball, he'll come back. But it is frustrating.
To be fair to them, you see goal line technology, other than the game Aston Villa versus Sheffield, we've seen goal line technology work like a treat in football, and it's tough on the umpires to have to look down. Players now land and slide forward. To be able to look down and see all that and then put your head up straight away and have your bearings right for 150 km/h ball is tough. So probably they can get some help in that regard, of someone buzzing in the ears if it isn't the ball.
Familiar talking points often come up. Anyway, Jimmy Anderson is going to bowl at the start of this afternoon session. He's bowling to Brooks, and he's already trying to flick that away through the leg side and got a thick leading edge there, and Archer fields at mid-off, and Brooks starts dancing on his toes like a boxer there to warm himself up. As he just think, come on, should have played that a bit straighter, I think. Anyway,
probably had a good lunch.
I hope you had a good lunch.
Yeah, not bad. Some fish bouillons, peas and sweet corn.
That's the way. The floodlights are on. That sure sums up the state of the light at the moment. I hope we get a full day's play, and there is some cloud coming up from the right. Anderson from that end moves in, bowls. That's better. Nice shot there from Brooks. Beautiful defensive stroke, head right over it, and he's not going to get past that. Archer picks the ball up, gives it a polish. Can't put any spit on his fingers, of course. Interesting yesterday, in that Mark was talking about back sweat, and that they're using that as a way of shining the ball. So in the small of the back, when you get hot, you get some sweat down there.
Must be tough to get under 2-3 layers in the conditions were yesterday.
Yes, I know. Exactly. But that's what they're doing. They've obviously worked out where most of the sweat is generated. Anderson bowls, and that's played on the back foot this time, or predominantly back foot by Brooks, and picked up in the offside. 159 for 3. England need wickets here because West Indies are only 45 runs behind. We've seen the odd ball misbehave up and down. Not the sort of movement that we've seen on the first couple of days, but they've expected that with the change in the weather and the pitch drying out. But they're up against it here, and we saw, as I keep saying, last year the West Indies showed really good discipline last year when they were in positions in which maybe a few years ago they just wouldn't have really focused on what they were doing, but they played so well in that series. Here's Anderson bowling, and he might just have taken his bat out of the way. Anderson will reckon that beat the bat, but I think probably from here I'll give the batsman the benefit of the doubt. So he just dropped his wrists as that one went past outside. Yeah, looking at the replay, fair enough, well played.
Yeah, the game is set up so beautifully with these two very mature batsmen, well, at least at first class level and mentally. If they can set a good platform, we know what Blackwood could do and how quickly he can do it.
Well, he could be a match changer, couldn't he? He could. I mean, if he just went berserk for an hour. Anderson bowls, nicely played by Brooks again forward. Played down into the gully. I mean, he could. An hour of Blackwood playing a few shots.
The beauty
got Holder as well to come. I mean,
the beauty position that we're in now, well, West Indies is in now, is that he doesn't have to change the match, but he could potentially push it far out of the grasp of England if he gets going, and he would have the freedom as opposed to coming in 50 for 4.
Yep. Just 2 slips now. Sibley and Stokes, who's at second. Anderson on his way, bowls. That's turned away for the first runs of the afternoon. Out towards deep square leg. The fielder's there. It's Mark Wood. And his throw can't prevent the second run. 161 for 3. So 43 runs now behind the West Indies. Chasers 13. Brooks has 29. And the men dismissed today is just to bring people up to date completely. Shea Hope, first of all, who was actually given out LBW to Archer, but then the replay showed that it was a no ball. And that survived that, but then Was well caught by Stokes at slip off Don Best for 16, and then Craig Brathwaite, that LBW we talked about, where Stokes, it's interesting because the bowlers, Stokes thought it was out, didn't he? He gave a very low key appeal, and then he thought, hang on, the umpire's not going to give this out, and he went back for a second go, and so I think he thought it was more out than the replay and the technology suggested.
Yeah, you could say that, but think about how many times bowlers scream, and then when the captain asks them if they should review, they say,
no.
just upside out, just going down leg.
That is also very
so in the moment, you have to stay in character and act as though you believe it's out.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Now, Bess is on, and he's bowling for our end of the ground, and he's bowling to Chase, his opposite number in a way. Chase, the off spin. I don't think he didn't bowl a ball in the innings, did he? The destroyer of England in Barbados with 8 wickets. He goes clearly back to his best bowls to him and his forward. There's a slip and a short leg there. We haven't seen the ball spin particularly yet.
Yeah, Best has been bowling rather full. He got Shea caught driving outside the off stump, and there's a deep point to allow him to do such.
And he goes again, wearing 47, a little flatter that one, pushed away by Chase into the covers. Yes, so deep point, allowing him to bowl that little bit of width that gives him that attacking line, really, and it's a good position, I think. It gives him the confidence to be able to bowl outside the off stump. He goes once more, and that finds the inside portion of the bat. I don't know if that spun or whether the batsman just pushed at it a bit hard, but it just went past Popert. Short leg. The all-telling replay will show us. Didn't spin very much. I think he just pushed away from his pad a bit. Bess again. Stokes crouching at slip, moves in bowls. Chase wants a single there. He just found that gap, which has been opened by the fact there is the deep point.
Roston does not like batting off spin at all. Obviously, most West Indians hate leg spin because we prefer the leg side. Roston loves his extra cover drive, and he thinks leg spin doesn't challenge his stumps. So he's always more wary of an off spinner than a traditional leggy.
162 for 3. Brooks on strike, and forward he comes, and then he finds that gap in the offside as well. Stokes has to chase the ball. 163 for 3. So 41 runs behind. Andy.
Got some CricViz data on the lengths bowled today by the seamers. England have bowled just 19% of their deliveries today in what CricViz define as full. This is breaking into full, sort of good length and short. 44% short. Yesterday England were bowling 31% full, 32% short, 37% on a good length. But look at the West Indies on day 2 yesterday when they ran through England. 39% of the balls were full, just 25% short. So West Indies are bowling twice as many full balls as England have bowled today, and had a great deal of success with it.
Yeah, it showed, didn't it? They were very disciplined yesterday, and even bowlers like Gabriel, who are just out and out fast bowlers, but he bowled that full length and he bowled very well.
Gabriel bowled 43% of his balls on day 2 in the full length category. Roach 46%, Holder 34%.
Here's Anderson, and he bowls, and Brooks is forward, playing slightly across the pad, but it's picked up there at mid-wicket by Pope, and there's no run. 163 for 3. Very disciplined. Is Phil Simmons quite disciplined? I mean, is he one of those people who really is he's sort of ramming home the points about discipline?
Yeah, I think he's a good man manager. So while it is about discipline, it isn't, I guess, the Jose Mourinho type. Is more all the gunner hand around the shoulder type thing. He can be firm when need be, but when it comes to managing different characters in the dressing room and having the full respect of the dressing room, he is your man.
Yeah, well, he certainly got it all right yesterday. 163 for 3. England bowled out for 204, of course. As Anderson bowls outside the off stump, and there's no stroke from Brooks, who's 30 not out from 51 balls. He got away to a bit of a flyer. I mean, he's very experienced. He played, this is his 4th test, but of course he's 31 years old. He's been around a long time, scoring lots of runs for Barbados.
I'm trying my best not to say anything good about him, Aggers, and put the curse of death on him.
I'm doing the opposite. Fine player, this Brooks. Never going to get out. 163 for 3. Anderson. Pavilion behind him, moves in bowls, and Brooks pushes that away down into gully. There's no. Is this typical of the way that he plays?
Yeah, so growing up, he was a little bit more flamboyant, and then he almost went into a shell where he just worried about technique. Not really looking good, but doing the right things, and less so on scoring runs. I think now he's found the perfect balance between doing the right things, but also looking ugly and getting runs. And he's been prolific at first class level, and I'm very nervous. I wanted to replicate the same in the series.
Calm down, Carl. Calm down. 2 slips waiting. Anderson moves in. Bowls to him. Lets that go outside the off stump. He's pleased with that because he just does it a second time, facing an imaginary ball. And now we have seen quite a lot of this today, the gardening, the tapping at the pitch with the bat. The bats are just looking a little bit suspicious as they don't entirely trust it.
Yeah, I think the pitch is a cause for concern. Jimmy obviously bowling a lot fuller with the field he has set. You think he'd bowl a lot fuller than he is at the moment, but you think when Wood and Archer comes back at that pace, you don't want much inconsistency in bounce.
Here's Anderson running in hard. Bowls. That's a short ball. That startled Brooks a bit. To get up on his toes there and fend that way into the leg side. Pope again is the fielder. 163 for 3. Anderson sporting this new headband, sort of Federer style. We haven't seen him do this before, but as we've been explaining, I think a lot of the players haven't been able to get near a barber.
The coronavirus has brought out all types of hairstyles.
It has. So Anderson's gone for the headband. Here he comes again, bowls, and that's beautifully put away by Brooks. Short, just a little bit of width outside the off stump, but he's put it away. Chase for the fielders. The ball's going to win though, as he just plays that firmly off the back foot square and finds the boundary. So 167 for 3, 50 overs gone, and West Indies now is 37 runs behind.
I love that, Aggers. I'm sure a few guys from his local club, Spartan, will be tuning in.
Look how deep he got in the crease.
Oh, they love to see that.
Yeah.
On his toes, on top of the bunks, into the ground. And what I love most about it is the fact that point and cover had to chase it right away into the boundary.
Yes, a bit of a teaser. So where's Spartan then, for people who've been to Barbados? Whereabouts is Spartan?
So Spartan is dead centre in the middle of Bridgetown.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, Queen's Park is the name. It's right beside the van stand. Yeah, if you come through Barbados and you go through Bridgetown, you would have passed Queen's Park.
Now we've got Best bowling, and chases forward, playing it towards the onside. Best is able to pick it up as he follows through. Where's the lovely ground where Malcolm Marshall used to play?
Wonders.
Is that the one where we go up just inland a bit? The bar's always going, the rum punches are going.
There's every ground out there.
That's true. Very social ground. 167 for 3. Best strides in, tossing this one up. Was driven away, clipped away down to mid-on. It's quite deep there, but a single was saved. Sibley fielding there. 167 for 3. I think it is Wanderers. His Best striding in. He bowls. So that's clipped away, a little bit uppish, but it doesn't carry as far as Sibley, who comes galloping in from mid-on. Run again.
I'll get some pressure for not knowing which club. I think he was at Wanderers. I think he also played a little for Banks as well, my first club.
Okay. Best again. So played away down to mid-wicket. 167 for 3. 37 runs behind. Best again. Bowls. Oh, that went straight on. Beat the bat there as Chase came groping forward. Whether that was an intentional arm ball or whether he just misjudged it. He seems to have given it a bit of a tweak, but it just skimmed on, didn't it? It's almost sort of spun away from him, but there's a bit of a crack. Might have been, 'cause it was definitely an off-spinner that he bowled. Beat the bat, and he goes again. Bowls, and Chase hits that. Catch it, they shout. Well, there's an appeal for a catch. Chase isn't interested in that. I'm not sure that the umpire is either, is he? It's a strange one. Catch it, they shouted. But no, nothing is done. The umpire wanders off. One of those, as you were saying, how often the appeals go up, but actually when you had to do a review or something, you say, oh, no, don't worry, that was one of those I think. 167 for 3. It's a lovely little ground down near St Lawrence Gap where you drive round in the centre there.
Dover.
Beautiful
Yeah,
cricket.
so my dad played for Dover. That was
okay.
my hunting ground when I was younger.
Was it? Beautiful ground.
Yeah, and that took me back to club cricket days, spending some time with the older folk, learn about cricket, learn about life over Banks Beer. Good old club cricket days.
Proper club cricket. Eh? You learn as much afterwards as you do when you're actually playing. Anderson then starts a new over, and Brooks plays that into the offside. Do you think club cricket's as strong in Barbados now as it was when you were growing up?
Nah, not as strong for sure. There's so much more to do now, technology-wise, partying-wise, than when I was growing up. I learned so much from Winston Reid, who is probably the best player to never play for West Indies.
Okay.
Left arm spinner, a real mentor to me. And I know Jonathan Carter and a few other guys that went to Banks could say the same.
Anderson past the umpire again, played firmly off the front foot by Brooks, clipped away really down the ground to down to mid-on. It seems, I mean, is cricket like as vibrant for young people as it used to be? I mean, you don't see as much beach cricket these days. And
yeah, it's changed a bit. I would say that the club cricketers, the ones that play, I mean, on the field it's probably still the same competition, but off the field it's changed drastically. I remember that same Banks team we won in 2007. We used to sleep at the ground from time to time. We'd play together, party together, and sleep at the ground waiting for the next day's play.
that's nice. Here's Anderson over the wicket. That gets a little bit low, but Brooks played it neatly down to backward point. 34 not out now from 59 balls. And even I don't know, maybe there's the way that the game is, the crowd, the enthusiasm, the noise with the bands and the King Dial characters and these people, that doesn't seem to be quite there these days.
You still get it in T20,
right?
But I guess like most places around the world, the longer form isn't as supported in person.
Here's Anderson, and that's punched away into the onside of the man there, quite close and straight. But no run. Did you go to the old Kensington ground as a kid?
I did.
What a characterful place that was.
Yeah, my dad used to
Noise.
work at Banks, and I used to be snacking with the Banks workers. It was good fun.
I used to love going there.
Yeah, talking about club cricket, like after the game, person to stay around much longer. I find that's dying away a bit. As soon as the game is finished, guys are leaving, and I think you lose some of the quality of club cricket when you do that.
There were people saying, "Here, here," I think, to that. Oh, now it's clipped away. It's been beautifully played. That is lofted Anderson over mid-wicket and away for 4. I'm not sure Jimmy were very pleased about that. It was pretty straight, and Brooks has planted that front foot and then flicked him away, well, dismissively, really, over mid-wicket for 4 runs.
There's a quality cricket shot with the field that Jimmy has set with a mid-wicket, a straightish mid-on next to the non-striker, and a wideish mid-wicket to have the confidence to go up and over. Quality and well executed as well.
Another touch of the gloves. And West Indies are now they're just 33 runs behind, and they've got 7 wickets left. And Brooks is playing very nicely indeed. Still that man at short, straight mid-on. Anderson again runs up and bowls to him. Back he goes, just feeling the ball away down to backward point, and that's the end of the over. Lovely stuff, Cost. Love to hear memories of Barbados. Some more thoughts from you and maybe Andy, and then Simon Mann is coming here to keep the commentary going.
Just looking at Shamar Brooks's first class career, averages only in the low 30s, 32 in first class cricket, 7 centuries. But West Indian domestic cricket, Carlos, the scoring tends to be pretty low. Is it the pitch is very, very difficult for batting? We don't really see anyone averaging more than sort of 33, 34.
In first class cricket in the West Indies, 35 is a good average actually. It'd be interesting to see his stats from 2015 when he actually came back into first class cricket, as he was out for a couple of years between that time.
Good afternoon. Here is Bess going into bowl to Chase. Chase stretches right forward, bat in front of pad, playing it back down the pitch.
Yeah, since 2015, so he played up to April 2012. At that point, he played 21 first class games and just reached 50 once, had a batting average just under 20.
Bess in again to Chase, and Chase leans forward. They're really bending that front knee in defence. Alongside it, playing it to cover, and there's no run.
Since then, a further 64 games, 7 centuries, and an average just under 36, so significantly improved, and by the standards of Caribbean cricket, that's a pretty tidy average.
Best to Chase outside the off stump, drawing him forward. Delivery that. Just slid one past the outside edge, but Chase was equal to it. Playing it to cover, picked up by Crawley. And there is no run. 171 for 3. West Indies only 33 runs behind. The lights on at the Ageas Bowl. Best bowls. A bit straighter. Turned with any spin into the onside this time by Chase towards mid-wicket, where it's picked up by Burns. And there is no run. Chase 14. Brooks 38. Best bowling with a slip and a short leg. Short leg quite deep. Best again to bowl to Chase, and Chase covers up and plays quietly, gently towards Burns at mid-wicket. And there is no run again. It has filled in since this morning. There's still some blue sky around in the distance. I don't think we need the floodlights on. It did go overcast for about 10 minutes after lunch. It's probably why they switched them on. Best loops that one up, and Chase dries. It's very full. He ends up digging it out, and it rolls away into the offside. Picked up by Butler, and there's no run. Best through a maiden there. 171 for 3. West Indies still in a good position in this game, and England finding themselves under some pressure here. The possibility of a decent first innings lead for West Indies.
Yeah, it looks this way. If these two keep on going and could get us to 200, next target after that will be 250. It allows Blackwood, Dowrich, Holder to come on and express themselves. I want to be greedy here and bat once. If we bat the full day today, could get a lead close to 200. Very, very difficult for England to surpass that and then set a target.
In that Headingley Test match on the last tour, I think England had a huge or big first innings deficit, didn't they, Andy? And then they got themselves into a decent position and declared on the fourth evening, setting West Indies at 320. I think they had to come back from a long way behind in that game, didn't they?
There were 169 runs behind on first innings. England 258 all out. West Indies 427 with centuries by Brathwaite and Shea Hope, and then England 490 for 8 declared. West Indies chased down 322 for 5 to win by 5 wickets.
Anderson, a new over from him. 16th, bowls outside the off stump. Brooks doesn't play. Quite wide, and it's taken by Butler. So England have had an experience of being in this position before.
They have.
Against West Indies.
Change of plan by Anderson. The straight mid-on has come out, and they've got a third man in. For me, this ploy is probably a bit more dangerous for Brooks. Loves the drive. The point is a bit shorter, catching extra cover a little ways off, and deep point saving boundaries for anything loose.
There's nothing in the gully. Here's Anderson bowling outside the bottom, short, and Brooks flinches out of the way a bit. Allows it to go through to Butler. On the averages of those West Indian pitches, is it simply that the pitches are quite tricky to bat on? Are you saying 35 is a good average in the West Indies? What's the reason behind that?
To be fair, the pitches have gotten better in the last couple of years, but traditionally they've been very slow and low. And you've even had situations with spinners opening the bowling and bowling 80% of the overs, but now it's been a fairer game between bat and ball.
Anderson to Brooks. Brooks gets a ball on off stump. She defends solidly back to the bowler, and there is no run. Has there been an effort? I've read suggestions there have been that to try to make pitches a bit quicker and a bit more conducive to the pace bowlers.
I think they have, and they've also introduced fast bowling points, which encourages the teams to use the fast bowlers, and you get
Fast
extra
bowling
points.
points.
Yeah, you
Right.
get extra points when you get wickets with fast bowlers. I mean, it's some drastic and draconian, but it's very, very necessary.
Here is Anderson bowling to Brooks. Brooks pushes that away into the offside, goes out to cover, and there's no run. I mean, we talk here about trying to encourage spinners to bowl more.
Difference in conditions. You think going to Guyana, and normally or traditionally the fast bowler would bowl 2 overs just to get the writing off the ball. Pramod will open from the other end, and then you have to bat 85 overs of Pamal and Bishu. Not
Yeah.
much team's going to do much there. So it's been tough. With the advent of fast bowling points, it's brought fast bowlers into the game a lot more.
Anderson bowls, a bouncer, Brooks ducks through to Butler. So what are the points for the fast bowlers taking wickets then? Can you explain the system?
Not entirely. I'll do some research on it.
Okay.
But in the columns, when you look at the points, you see batting points, bowling points, and you get fast bowling points as well. To be honest, I think the teams that have won it without the fast bowling points, and they would have won it with or without. But it's still a handy incentive.
Anderson to Brooks. Brooks gets the ball on off stump. He's right in behind that. Solid defensive shot. Sort of defensive shot that can discourage a bowler. Back to Anderson, who picks up and then lobs it out to Archer. That's the end of Anderson's over. It's 171 for 3. Was that a maiden, Andy? So 2 maidens in a row bowled by England.
Yeah, just 2 scoring shots in the last 5 overs.
Contrast the morning session where West Indies scored freely, certainly in that second hour where they scored 58 runs. That might be another of England's ploys here, just to try to dry up the scoring. And sometimes in Test cricket you dry up the scoring, induces a batsman to play an attacking shot, an injudicious stroke. We'll see. Chase faces Bess, drives it firmly back to him. Bess picks up off his own bowling. And there's no run. Chase, who's an experienced enough cricketer, he's playing his 33rd Test match here. 14 not out. Slip and a gully go down. 5 saving a single, 2 men out on either side. 1 on either side. Bess bowls. Chase covers up. Rolls out towards Burns at straight mid-wicket. And there is no run. Bess, who took the wicket of Shea Hope this morning, caught by Stokes at slip. Sharp chance to Stokes' right. Bess again bowls to Chase, who clips this into the onside. Thinks of a single, not there. It's too close to Burns at mid-wicket. Goes to his right. Lobs it back to Butler. Stokes had actually dropped 10 chances. Think of a player or a fielder as good as that. Dropped more catches in Test cricket than any other fielder since the start of 2019. 10 drops. Best bowls. That's full. It's guided away on the drive. Nice looking shot from a Chase towards deep cover. 1 run. Wood sent in the return. Only 3 of those 10 has been evaluated as a hard chance. You actually think back to that Mount Maunganui game and England losing by an innings to New Zealand. I mean, he dropped BJ Watling on 31. He made a double 100. I mean, you talk about how the flow of a game goes, but actually incidents make a huge difference, obviously. Best tosses that one up, driven nicely by Brooks, the left of mid-off. Tumbling save from Anderson, but not before Brooks has gone through for a single.
Yeah, you think about, obviously drop catches are noted, but you think about a fielder making a couple of good saves in the field and that changing the momentum because it builds pressure and that sort of stuff. I'd like to see how many of those chances Stokes made into chances that would have been half chances for the normal man.
Best bowls and Chase, and he's out in front of his front pad there, just turning the ball quietly into the onside, and there's no run. 173 for 3. Well, I don't know how you evaluate what is a hard chance or not, but according to the stats, only 3 of the 10 he dropped was evaluated as a hard chance.
Think about him getting to the catch he took in the first game of the World Cup last year, and then hitting the palm of the hand and saying, "Oh, he got there, he should have taken it." Not a hard chance.
What, the one against South Africa?
Yeah.
When he caught on the boundary.
Yeah.
I think you would probably count that as a hard
chance.
He
turned that into an easy chance, or at least it made it look easier than it would be for a lot of people. So a lot of times persons with speed and agility and the passion that he plays with sometimes gets to things that they have no right getting to, and then people say, "Oh, that was easy."
173 for 3. Anderson goes in, bowls to Brooks. Brooks drives straight to mid-on. Nice looking shot, but directly at the fielder. So there is no run. If you look back at that BJ Watling chance, I think that slip, it was just before lunch. It was one of those that he would kick himself as he went off the field, dropping a chance like that. It was probably a bit I mean, if a slip catch against a spinner is straightforward, it's probably a little bit more straightforward than the one he caught this
Regulation.
morning. Yeah, it was at him, nice in the basket, and it went down. Anderson bowls, and there's an appeal for a catch behind there. Belated, he's given him out. Now, what's Brooks going to do here? It's a really strange one. It went through to Butler, and then there was a concerted appeal, but a belated concerted appeal. Very confident one. Now, is Brooks going to review this? Waiting the timer to go down. Has he reviewed it? He has, with 1 second to go. Well, normally, if you think you haven't hit it, you review it straight away, don't you? So
Yeah.
it's an odd one, that, because there wasn't an appeal straight away. It was just a split second.
It was a strange one. Like, Anderson appealed, then everyone appealed. Shamar didn't look as though he thought he hit it.
Can we have front on spin vision, please?
Right, have England got a 4th wicket here?
Okay, can we have ultra edge when available, please?
It can only be bat if there's anything there, or there is a spike.
Just take that back, please. And one frame forward. Thanks, Mark. Yes, we've got a clear spike on ultra edge with the ball next to the bat. So I'm ready to go back on field to Richard. Richard, the ball is hit the bat. Stay with your on-field decision. You're on screen now.
Well, there we go. The technology there convincingly backing up umpire Kettleborough. There was a big spike. It wasn't one of those little squiggles. It was quite a big spike on the outside edge of the bat. It could only have been bat as well, because the bat was away from the body.
I must give him credit there. Obviously, I've been a bit tough on the umpires, but for that one, it's easy for the umpires to miss that as well. Fair enough, it was a spike, but the way he played it, the way he didn't look back and gave it away with his body language, and the staggered appeal by the opposition, very good decision.
Yeah, it was an odd one. I was pretty sure that he wasn't going to give it out. He waited a long time.
He had no idea really. Like normally the fielding team goes up in unison, and the batsman peeps back around quickly with a guilty look. None of that happened, but correct decision in the end.
And Brooks, if he'd known he'd hit it, obviously he would have walked off. The umpire gave him out, so he must have thought, I didn't hit that, I didn't hear anything. But enough of the England fielders and the umpire did.
Yeah, it was definitely a feather. I don't think he felt it. They heard something, and the right decision is made. And I mean, that's what you want. You want that the bowlers work hard, they create a chance, the fielding side takes it, and they're justly rewarded. So happy to see that the correct decision was made.
So Brooks is out for 39. Now Jermaine Blackwood is in at number 6 for West Indies, behind Roston Chase. And, well, 173 for 4 in reply to 204. England just trying to hold on to West Indies' coattails here. They don't want them to get away too far. They had a really punishing lead. The game really in the balance. You've still got Holder and Dowrich to come. Of course, he batted through a whole day's Test cricket in the last series that England played in the Caribbean. Remarkable achievement. How many wickets had fallen on the first day of that Test match, Andy? It was a whole heap of them. It's like the contrast between the first day and the second day. I think one day, it must have been about 15 or something, 14 on the first day and then none on the second, or was it second and the third day? It was a remarkable change of fortunes. Here's Blackwood then, his first ball. Anderson goes into bowl to him, and Blackwood is forward to a ball homing in on off stump. Plays it defensively away on the offside, and there is no run. Blackwood from Jamaica, playing his 29th Test match, his 100 so far against England in Antigua on that last tour. Carlos Brathwaite has departed, and Phil Tufnell is here, and the lights have been turned off as well. Good to see them saving some power of the blue sky above to our right hand side. Anderson bowls to Blackwood, just a hint of low bounce there. Blackwood possibly could have left that, elected to play at it, played it defensively into the offside. There's no run. Good afternoon, Tom.
Afternoon, Simon.
Yeah.
Hello.
Good game this, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's turning into a good game, and this is. I've seen Blackwood bat as well. He likes to get on with it as well. So, whatever West Indies 31 behind, it could just be the perfect guy just to kind of give some impetus and get this West Indies innings really sort of rocking and rolling along. Jimmy Anderson's bowled well, hasn't he? Nice and tight. Realise it hasn't swung.
Second wicket for Anderson in this over, goes in and bowls. Blackwood drives, nice looking shot.
Yeah.
Anderson stops it away to his right hand side. Plenty of bottom hand in that drive. The stumps might have stopped it actually if Anderson hadn't. There was no run. England putting the man back on the deep backward square leg boundary for Blackwood, so 2 men out.
He's a counter-attacker, isn't he, Blackwood? Which can either go your way if it comes off, or you can have a bit of a woof outside off stump and get caught second slip or something. But an intriguing part of their innings at the moment.
Back with Anderson. Past umpire Kettleborough into bowl to Blackwood, and Blackwood nearly plays on there. Ball coming back from Anderson, inside edge onto his pads, and the ball rolls away from off stump. Good over from Anderson, and England were drying up the runs, and perhaps that tactic helped them with the wicket.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, a good little spell, wasn't it? With Bess, I was being very impressed with Bess, actually. He's bowled attacking, but, you know, been able to keep the runs on, keep the runs down, and that partnership worked for Stokes. As I say, pressure gets the wicket.
That game in Barbados in January of 2019, at the end of day one, West Indies were 8 wickets down, 264 for 8. Then they were bowled out on the second morning. England was skittled for 77, and then West Indies 127 for 6 at the close, so 18 wickets that day. Then the next day, Holder and Dowrich batted for most of the day, 415 for 6. They ended at the declaration.
Best bowls. Chase plays across his front pad, turning with the spin into the onside towards mid-wicket. I say with the spin, there's not much out there, there's just a fraction out there.
There's a little bit which keeps you honest, and he's also bowled that nice line and a couple of drifters which have gone past the outside edge, and you just feel that he's getting on top of Chase here. He's bowled a couple of maidens at him, he's getting a little bit twitchy. Just don't let him get away with a single on that offside. I'd bring that man on deep cover point up.
Best bowls, slingy delivery to
that's the low arm.
Chase, and Chase is equal to it, stretching forward and playing it defensively. Ends out to Crawley at extra cover. Excellent battle going on out there at the moment, both sides realising how important this little passage of play is for supremacy in this game. Chase on 15, trying to be patient. That's tossed up and driven on the bounce out to Crawley at extra cover.
It's a good bit of cat and mouse here. I'm enjoying this. I've been very impressed with Bess. He's obviously been working very hard, and he's got that low arm release point as well, which is a bit of variation, but also in those lines, it's an attacking line for an off spinner.
Best bowls. Chase stands up in defence to a ball on off stump, playing it back down the pitch.
It's going to be a little battle of patience out there. You get the feeling between Bess and Chase.
Explain in a moment when you get the chance, Tuffers, what you mean by an attacking line for a spin bowler.
Yeah.
Best tosses this right up, and it's dug out into the offside. Crawley tumbles to his left at extra cover and stops it. And there's no running, and trying to join up the dots here. 1 ball left in this over. Best is 11th, 1 for 24, rubbing the ball fiercely on his trousers. Spins himself a catch, and then trots in, right arm over the wicket to bowl to Chase, who blocks it into the offside. There's no run, and that's another maiden. 173 for 4. Chase 15, Blackwood 0.
An attacking line for the off spinner is, let's say, what's that? 10 inches outside off stump, perhaps? Which is then bringing the batsman forward and sort of getting that bat away from the pad a little bit and getting him poking it out. So that's a good length as well, needs to be bowled there. But also it's bringing in the outside edge if it doesn't turn, and perhaps that little bit of drift with the arm, which is called the arm ball, which then goes straight on and can get the outside edge. How we got his first wicket just before lunch. Or if it does then turn, you've got the bat slightly out in front of the pad, which then can sort of, if it turns, can go through the gate and bolds and things like that. Or if not, get the inside edge onto the pad, thus bringing in short leg.
So why don't all off spinners bowl an attacking line then?
Well, because sometimes
let's just do this ball from Anderson to Blackwood. Anderson bowls, Blackwood leaves outside the off stump.
Well, they do sort of try to. Obviously, it's the way people play. You know, some people, as you say, Brooks was very good at getting his foot to the pitch of the ball and sort of negating that, wasn't he? Sort of getting right out there and hitting a couple of 3 times through extra cover. Yep. So you've got to see how the batsmen play, how they set up. Also on the pitch, how the pitch is playing. Did you get that?
Yep, I did. Yeah, I did. 173 for 4. It's Anderson 2 for 35. No, perfectly explained.
Thank you.
Blackwood yet to score. Anderson bowls to him. And Blackwood does score now, streakily, off the inside edge, past the leg stump for 4, down towards fine leg. Well, not entirely convincing.
No.
But, I don't know, you see a few runs to your name, it's fine.
Yeah.
I survived. Tricky one, but I survived.
Yeah, could have easily dragged that on. A little bit of sort of just angled back in at Blackwood there, didn't he? And he tried to punch that through, perhaps extra cover, get a thick inside edge for
We saw one before lunch that went just past the off stump. That was a thick inside edge. It went quite a long way past the leg stump, but it was a full shot from Blackwood.
England definitely in drying up mode here then.
Yeah.
Not really looking for wickets, but just hoping they might get the odd breakthrough.
Anderson bowl, that's up in the air, spooned in the air over cover. That was a strange one from Blackwood, and it bounces in no man's land. Halfway back to the boundary on the offside. Where did that come from?
And that's what we were talking about, Blackwood. I mean, that was too short to drive. That was almost just back of a length, and he's gone on that forward press and just decided he liked the look of it. And little bit of shape away, got a thick outside edge and just sort of ballooned over cover point. Little bit of luck.
Was he looking to hit that back past the
Straight
bowler?
back over his head,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
It certainly wasn't on the ground.
No.
I think that would have been impossible to hit that ball on the ground.
179 for 4. Blackwood to 6. Anderson bowls to him, and Blackwood, it's a ball short of a length. He's up on his toes. And the ball stops on the pitch. And there is no run.
I do like these sort of counter-attacking batsmen and everything, but it doesn't matter who you are, you've got to give yourself a little bit of time just to feel, the pace, what the bowler's up to and everything. Then you can express yourselves. No point in going too early, because then, if that would have just lollipopped up the cover point, you'd have felt you'd wasted something,
Yeah, he's had 2 fortunate scoring strokes in this over. 179 for 4. Anderson into bowl to Blackwood. And Blackwood pinches a single into the offside, shy at the stumps. Blackwood's judged that very well. He's looking for 2 in actual fact, as the throw goes past the stumps and has to be backed up by the man Pope coming in from deep square leg.
It's going to be an interesting contest, I think, between Bess and Blackwood. That's what I'm looking forward to. This is where the young off-spinner's going to have to show a little bit of maturity and realise that, something's afoot here, because I can't see him just poking him back. I think he's going to use his feet and try and give him a whop.
Well, 1 ball left in the over.
Yeah, they will have it.
And it will be Bess against Blackwood. And you can enjoy that in the company of Isha, who's coming in at the end of the over. Chase hasn't been down this end for a while, so he's taking a fresh guard. Just holding up proceedings.
Yeah, Bess has bowled nicely to him. I've been impressed with the way he bowled at Chase. You could see him just getting on top of him.
England have 4 on the offside, 1 at short point and 3 saving 1. Backward point cover and mid-off and 2 slips, so not too attacking in one sense. You can attack in all sorts of different ways. Anderson bowls to Chase. Chase covers up, plays defensively to mid-off. There's no run. It's the end of the over. It's 180 for 4. Tuffers and then Isha.
Yeah, I'm liking the feel of this contest. Bess versus Blackwood. He's bowled very nicely, the young off-spinner, so far, and used the crease and used his flight and guile and craft. But I think Blackwell won't just be looking to defend him. I think he's going to try and get on top of him, and thus a change in field. We've got a deep mid-on. I think everyone else could feel that as well. So good captaincy. Perhaps would have given him 1 or 2 with the mid-on up and let him try and go for it to entice an attacking shot, but decided to think defensive first. But this might be interesting. I'm sure that Blackwood will have a little look at it for a couple of balls, but I think he's going to be aggressive. Isha, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you,
Good
Tuffers.
good afternoon to you.
Yes. I'm loving this sunshine to the point where you're now wearing sunglasses.
And you've taken
I can
your
take my
puffer-
puffer jacket off. Finally. Oh dear.
There we go.
Yeah.
Summer's back.
Lovely. So, Don Bess up and over to Blackwood, who punches out to deep cover. It's past extra cover, diving to his left, and he'll pick up 4 for it as well. He's hit that with some power, the timing of it, and the score goes to 184 for 4.
It's a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. We thought that he'd look to sort of try and counteract Bess, and just outside off stomp. Not really a half volley, but foot to the pitch of the ball, high elbow, and absolutely timed that. past extra cover. Great shot.
Here he comes again, best bowls. Blackwood on the front foot, prodding back to the bowler, Andy.
Well, look at Blackwood's stats against spin bowling in Test cricket. He, as tough as a suggestion, he does tend to have a go at it. Scores at 65 runs per 100 ball against right arm spin, only about 50 against left arm spin.
Good friend of his as best bowls to Blackwood, who's again front foot pressing and defending back down the track, is Andre Russell.
Right.
And he lives 10 minutes away from him. They train together.
Not too many forward defences down that road.
One of the most aggressive players in world cricket. I think the best strike rate in T20 cricket, Andre Russell, is Blackwood. Pushes forwards again and defends. But he has spoken about wanting to play the long innings. Likes to drive mid-off, mid-on. He wants to prove to everyone that he can play the long game. And here is an opportunity for him as Bess through his delivery stride. Slightly shorter on the back foot, Blackwood defending.
See, that doesn't necessarily mean you've just got to block everything and just use up balls. It just means, as you say, you've got to pace and get your tempo, isn't it? You know, that's what I think he's meaning there. He's always going to be an aggressive attacking player.
Yeah.
He just needs to find that tempo for Test cricket.
Blackwood drives again, this time to wideish mid-off. James Anderson diving as they come through and pinch a single. And he manages to collect it in his left hand, Anderson, as Blackwood moves to 12, 185 for 4.
He has been out quite often to right arm spin, been out 14 times to right arm spin, averages 30 against right arm spin, which is about in line with his career record. It's at 13 sixes, a rate of about 1 every 50 balls, which is a reasonably high rate of six hitting. So this could be entertaining.
Yeah.
They're just showing a highlights package of Blackwood from the last series, and he is very much step and swing. Duffers.
Yes, which is so he's as you say, he's trying to sort of play the long innings. He just wants to then sort of like give himself a bit more of a chance, play yourself in, get yourself to 20, you know, and then you're starting to feel more at ease with your surroundings and what have you, and then you can go through the gears a little bit. I think a lot of Test match cricket and Test match batting is about tempo and realising when you've got those tough sessions that you're going to have to almost give to the bowlers.
Anderson is into Blackwood now on the back foot, pushing to the offside, no run.
There's not too many that can just keep stepping and swinging, you know, without becoming a cropper.
Yeah.
There have been a couple.
Well, he actually comes into this in good form, so lots of runs in the domestic season over in the Caribbean.
Oh, has he? Nice. Yeah, well, that's always a good foundation then, isn't it? That he's maturing sort of within his batting, you know.
2 slips in play for him as Anderson is past the umpire. Blackwood on the back foot, punching to cover, no run.
Sun's back out. It's funny actually, just after lunch there was that bit of cloud cover, wasn't there? And it did just start, the odd one just sort of leaping a bit. Jimmy Anderson got his wicket, but now brilliant sunshine again.
James Anderson with his black headband and white wristband, just having a chat to Jofra Archer, who tosses him the ball and turns at the top of his mark, running towards us. Arms pumping, bowls. Blackwood pushes to mid-on. It was up in the air for a little bit there.
Yeah, a bit of a stab, wasn't it? I mean, it was well timed. If they'd have still had that chap on the short drive on the onside, that would have probably gone straight down his throat. I think also, you know, you're always banging on about conditions, aren't we, and everything overhead and what have you. But the pitch, you know, I think the pitch warms up, you know, and the ball warms up as well. And you know, I always used to like bowling with a warm ball. Cold balls, no, honestly, they didn't do anything, you know. When they first...
Blackwood pushes to the offside,
no, because you'd go down in the winter to the nets and what have you, and there'd be like this big old bag that's been in the back of the coach's boot, you know what I mean, in all winter, and there'd just be like rocks, you know, that leather hasn't sort of warmed up.
I'm glad you explained that.
Yes, you know what I mean.
Blackwood taps his bat down, now stump high, still at the crease, defends to the offside. There's a man at short point who comes in to collect the ball.
I'm sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was just going to say to Andy, what's Anderson's figures so
He
far?
currently has 18.5 overs, 8 maidens, 2 for 42. One more ball, be his 9th maiden out of 19 overs.
There's all the experience in the world, isn't he? He'll be disappointed that he couldn't get it swinging. But then he's just gone into sort of containment mode, you know.
Well, that's what's so good about Anderson is his versatility and the ability to bowl to every situation as he comes in now again to Blackwood, who's on his toes, defending to the leg side this time. No run as Anderson comes round to collect the ball and just pops it up to Rory Burns.
So I've bowled with a few bowlers, you know, that perhaps have just gone, he's not swinging, you know. Well, OK, what do we do now then? You know,
something different.
I might have occasionally
It's
said
not
it
turning.
myself. Yes, it's not turning. Well, can you do anything else, Phil? Well, I don't know. I'll have a go. So you've got to have a plan B and perhaps a C and a D sometime.
And how many fielders out at that stage?
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, that's right. And you know you're in a bit of trouble when it is turning and you're still going, it's not your day. But no, it just shows the class of Jimmy Anderson, doesn't it? He can just slip in and out of these different sort of what's the word I'm making? Modes of bowling.
Well, that was the end of the over. 185 for 4, 60 overs bowled in this innings. Blackwood on 12, Austin Chase on 15. He will face this delivery from Dom Bess. 19 behind now as Chase drives back to Bess.
Yeah, only 19 behind. Only 19 behind, and well, you know they've got a good tail. West Indies. What numbers older coming in? 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know what he's capable of.
Yeah. And Dowrich at 7. You know, so England, you know, need to get another couple of wickets sharpish.
Bess is up and over.
Bowled.
Chase on the back foot, defending.
Sorry, I just keep naturally saying bowled. I keep thinking I'm out
That's
there.
good.
I keep just interrupting you. I feel like I'm a wicket keeper here bowling. Sorry.
As Bess is through once more. Chase this time coming forwards and smothering the ball. I think it's good, Tuffers.
Bowling Bessie.
Yeah.
Bowling Bessie.
How much coaching have you done in your
A little
career?
bit. Not as much. I wouldn't mind doing a little bit.
Was that ever
actually.
something? Yeah, I was going to say, was that something you ever considered?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a chat to Dominic, actually. I've had a chat to Dominic and Leach and a few of the people when they've been out and about, but nothing special. But, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Love it.
Chase drives to extra, no run. There's been a lot of talk about the way that the ball's coming out and the seam presentation from
Beautiful.
Dom Bess.
Beautiful, yeah. And then also you can play around with that a little bit and just sort of get perhaps it so it's hitting the leather side of the ball and skidder. He also drops his arm, his position point, which then sort of sometimes skids on and deceives the batsman
Bit more
in
round
flight.
arm.
Yeah. Learned that from Harath, I think he said.
As he comes in now, and that was up and over, very much up and over as they pick up a single. There's a man at sort of mid-on, but he's further back, so it's easy for Chase to come through.
Exactly. Why?
Dom Sibley there, as he now pushes out to the boundary.
Beyond the one, I'd be fuming there as you know. I mean, that was just a simple one. You build that pressure up on Chase. He's bowled beautifully at him. Get that man on the one. Keep him on the strike and build overs at him.
Final ball of the over. Bess bowls to Blackwood, who's down, drives straight to the fielder.
Well bowled,
An
Dominic
easy catch
Bess.
from James Anderson, but it did come out of nowhere in that over. Blackwood, we know he's an attacking cricketer, and he just couldn't help himself. So straight to James Anderson. Bess has another. West Indies trailing by 18, 186 for 4.
Yes, great piece of bowling, Dominic Bess. Well done. He's been in great rhythm all day, Dominic Bess. He's just bowled that slightly wide off stump as well. He would have felt that Blackwood was coming after him as well, as we did up here, and we were speaking about it. And he's fallen for the oldest trick in the book. A little bit wider, a little bit slower, has come down, couldn't get under it, and just smashed it straight at Jimmy Anderson at mid-off. Good bit of bowling. Good bit of mature bowling as well, because he would have felt that a little bit under pressure. You know, Blackwood obviously looks to come out and dominate. Kept his nerve well there. Great bit of cricket there by the young fella. Good bowling. Well done.
Blackwood disappears up the purple steps into the West Indian dressing room as Shane Dowrich appears onto the field, short in stature.
It just goes to show, though, what a fine line cricket is, isn't it? Because the yard either side there, that goes for 4. Pressure's on Dominic Bess, you know what I mean? You've got to keep strong at it. But no, very pleased with the young man. I enjoyed that little passage of play, and everyone felt it was coming, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's won that.
It's exciting though, isn't it? As a fielding group, you feel you're in the game
Yes.
because you just sense that he wants to get after the bowler. You feel it could come to you, and James Anderson was prepared then at mid-off, ready to take the catch. It was a catchable height, really. It was straight to him, but it was hit firmly.
Yeah.
It was hit firmly with a lot of power. And in now then, Shane Dowrich averaging 30 in Test cricket. He's played 32 Test matches. He was here, of course, in 2017, but he averaged 4.8 back then.
Oh,
so he didn't have the best of tours. But it's something that he's worked incredibly hard at. Didn't have a good short ball game.
You can see how
times.
You can see how disappointed Blackwood is there. As you say, we were talking about him wanting to play the longer form of the game and grind out and get into the position where he could then attack the bowling. As you say, he's smashed that straight to mid-off and absolutely furious with himself.
So, change of bowler, Jofra Archer into the attack now.
Like this.
It will be Roston Chase to face, though. 2 slips in play as Chase is on the back foot, and that felt like it came through not that quick.
Loosen up, Joff. Loosen up, mate.
It was 85 miles an hour, but it just tells you about the nature of this surface as well, that it's just, you know, it's not coming through. It feels a little bit dead, actually. As just describe the field, so he's got a wideish third man at short point, extra cover, a little bit further back, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket and fine leggers. Archer is through now, Chase defends.
Crucial little time in the game, isn't it, now for England? They've made that breakthrough, got rid of someone who could really hurt them, and quickly, so they can relax a little bit now, but now's the time to really put some pressure on. To say Roston Chase has been a little bit subdued, hasn't he, and just looked to drop anchor a bit, and now you've got the new batsman on naught. This is when you're thinking, right, lads, you know, come on, let's have a real buzzy 20 minutes here. Try and get a couple of more quick wickets.
Chase bat high. He pushes that to cover, no run.
Then you crank up your fast bowlers.
81 miles an hour, that one from Jofra Archer. He's now just
stiff. Looks a bit stiff, doesn't he, the boy?
He's into his 13th over.
Yeah.
Recovered from that elbow injury. And that was what everyone was excited about, the fact that, you know, lockdown has allowed the chance for everyone to kind of regain their fitness.
Yep.
Whatever injury that they've had, James Anderson calf injury, Mark Wood with all his various ailments, Jofra Archer with his elbow. As he bowls now to Chase, who's guiding that to that short point, no run. Zach Crawley position there. Andy?
Just looking at Dom Bess to Roston Chase, 33 deliveries, just 3 singles.
Yeah.
And Shane Dowrich, you mentioned his recent form much improved. In his first 15 Tests, averaged just 22. That was up to shortly after that last tour of England in 2017. But his last 17, he's averaged 38 with 3 centuries.
Chase forward pressing and guiding again to Zach Crawley. Very uncomplicated in his batting, Roston Chase.
Well, he's playing the anchor role, isn't he? As you say, as Andy said, you know, 3 off 30-odd balls to Dominic Bess. You don't want to be dominated. You want to be able to, you want to have a get out of jail card, don't you? You want to have a shot that you can just release, perhaps a little sweep or something. Whoosh.
Archer bowls a bouncer, he evades out of the way. Chase as it goes through to Butler. That is the end of the over. 186 for 5, 68, 2 overs bowled, and the West Indies trailing by 18 at the moment. Craig Brathwaite, the top scorer for the West Indies so far, with 65. Bess has picked up a couple of wickets. If you're just tuning in, Anderson with 2 and Stokes with 1.
Yeah, first in his wickets for the offie gives you confidence, you know. And I think England's ploy would have been, as you say, to bring him in more in the second innings if it gets there, which it now will. But so he'll be full of confidence. Really delighted for him. He's done well. He's done a lot of work on his bowling with Harath, I think, with the Lions over in Sri Lanka. Wonderful left arm spinner, very wily, very cagey. And I think it's showing dividends here. He's bowled beautifully.
Little red lacquer on the back of Dom Bess's trousers as he comes through now to Dowrich, who pulls away to deep square. Can he pick it up, the man out there? Good effort diving away as Dowrich gets off the mark, and he picks up 2. Joe Denley out there patrolling the boundary as the West Indies move to 188 for 5.
Very disappointed with that delivery. New batter. Don't give him anything to get bat on, and that was short. Easily put away.
Into his stride now. Comes through, up and over. Dowrich pads that. Comes forwards with his bat.
Be tempted to perhaps bring one more in. I mean, why not? Just gone in. Shane Dowrich, perhaps bring that man from deep point and bring him into silly point, or even a leg gully.
Dowrich advances and hits one over the top of mid-on. It's 1 bounce 4 into the boundary off Dom Bess. Almost a 6, actually.
Don't mind that, because he's obviously been sitting up there watching that, thinking, hold on a minute, he's just drying us up here. He's bowling nicely, so obviously he's had some instructions to come out and try and, don't let Bess just get into a groove. Perhaps keep that mid-on back now. Yeah, that's right. And try and hit it somewhere else. So don't let him get into a groove. So he's obviously made a pressure on the West Indies side. They're trying to attack him here.
Bess bowls. Dowrich this time defends. It's a good length delivery outside the off stump. So he's moved to 6. And the West Indies 192 for 5. As that man is probably, 20 metres off the boundary. Dom Sibley there. At long on as Dowrich this time smacks it straight back down the ground, but this time on the offside. It now reaches the long off boundary. And a real signal of intent from Dowrich. Hands on head for Ben Stokes at slip. 196 for 5, the West Indies. Dowrich to 10, just scratches and marks his guard once more. Looks out to the leg side boundary as Dom Bess now has the ball back in his hands, and Michael Vaughan has stepped in.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you as Bess spins himself a catch. He's now into his bowling action, and defending is Dowrich to the offside. Just a dab really off the back foot as Stokes will collect that. 196 for 5 then, trailing by 8 the West Indies. Andy?
Look, we mentioned how Blackwood has been lively against right arm spin but got out quite a lot. Dowrich has a great record against right arm spin in Tests. He averages over 52 against right arm spin, but under 30 against left arm spin and both left and right arm pace. So he has had a career strength against that type of bowling.
Michael, I'll just get your thoughts on that and how you see this at the moment, and then Aggers will come in.
Well, England have been so much better in the afternoon session. The Anderson Dominic Bess combination has worked wonderfully well. It's been the old school discipline, bowl for dots, create chances, and they've managed to pick up a couple of key wickets. And Jofra Archer's into his second over. His first over was a maiden. Again, his pace is one at 90 miles an hour. It's around 83, 84. So I think England have gone for the control mechanism to just try and force the error, and it worked with Blackwood. Brooke got a decent ball from Jimmy Anderson.
In the balance, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah,
you feel it's on a knife edge, this game.
Dowrich has come out playing some shots. It's going to be entertaining.
In comes Archer, then he bowls us driven out into the offside, not timed by Chase. Still batting to come, still Holder to come. Just feel like a couple of wickets and...
Well, a couple of wickets, and I don't think the West Indies will get too much of a lead, but because you mentioned Jason Holder at 8, if this partnership can develop and then Holder to come, West Indies should be looking at a lead of at least 70, if not more.
Third man has been placed now for Chase, who waits for Archer, who bowls, channels forward, being beaten there outside the off stump. Here, groans of disappointment from the players out there.
Well, I think Aggers in the morning session It looks to me like England have had a good chat at lunch, and they've gone to the old school. In these conditions, you just got a bowl full, you don't over-attack, and you bowl for dots. If you look at the morning session, particularly Archer and Wood, I think 53% of their deliveries were short. That's just over 3 every over, bowling short in these conditions.
Archer glides in and bowls, and that's played very easily by Chase. He's had plenty of time to push that away into the leg side. Actually, speed 83 miles an hour coming up there, so whether he just held that one back a little bit, possibly so.
And the problem as a captain when you're going for that short theory is that you have your short leg and you have a lot of fielders square of the wicket, so every time you pitch it up, it just gets punched into the gaps and you go for runs.
Yeah.
So hard to keep the scoreboard still when you go for that theory. Every now and again, of course, let the batsman have a short ball, but primarily in English conditions, you pitch the ball up.
Archer over the wicket, bowls short, pushed away into the offside. It's in the air, but bounces short of Crawley coming in from point. That could have gone anywhere. Very awkwardly played by Chase, and Stokes there on his knees, and him cursing a bit of ill fortune there. That could have gone literally anywhere. Well, unfortunately for Chase, it went into a gap there in the offside. Crawley picked it up on the first bounce. Archer wheels round, doesn't run very far, straight into that sprint. In he comes, bowls another bounce. So that's a lively one, and Chase just got out of the way. There's bobbing his head out of the way. Quick bouncer to finish that over. 196 for 5. So West Indies trail by only 8 runs. But now 5 wickets left, and looking at their real lower order. Well, our dear old friend the Archangel doesn't hang around. He'll be number 11. Roach can be a bit stubborn.
Yeah.
Actually, at 10. And Joseph as well at 9. So, apart from Gabriel, he can hold a bat. I mean, if there's a batsman in, you can expect some support from 9 and 10.
Well, it's dangerous territory for England. I mean, West Indies only trailing by 8. There's a team batting now. You think if one more partnership develops and they can get a partnership to beyond 50, the lead's going to be well beyond that 70 that I mentioned. But Ben Stokes has turned to himself. Dowrich did for Dominic Bess, hitting for a couple of boundaries, so they decided to go back to the seam.
Yeah, Stokes on at this end. He's got a sleeveless sweater on, and Dowrich waits, pats at the ground with his bat. Then goes Stokes, kicking up his heels over the wicket and bowls, and just is pushed off the front foot quite firmly to mid-off by Dowrich, who considerably shorter than many of his teammates. What would Dowrich be, 5'6" or 7", something like that, I would think.
I just wonder if the West Indies tactic, the way that Dowrich has come out and played very busily, there's 15.5 overs to go to that second new ball. I just wonder if they're going to try and capitalise on those 15 overs.
Stokes moves in smoothly, bowls a short ball. Dowrich gets out of the way of that, avoiding it, dropping the wrists, hopping around the crease rather.
I don't think they should, Agatha. I think they should just continue to bat. I don't think they need to take too many risks. That second new ball, of course, it might do a little bit more. There might be a bit more exaggeration in the bounce, but it also can travel a bit faster and harder as well.
Roston Chase has become 13 off his first 13 balls, just 3 off the next 48.
He's digging in.
He is digging in. Dowrich waits. Stokes bowls to him. So he's got that away into the leg side. Taking one, Archer sprinting up. They're coming back for the second. Archer was going to hurl that, but then changed his mind. They've made the second run. 198 for 5, just 6 runs behind.
Big boundary down there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's your spot when you go and do your interviews.
It is. Yep, way down there. You get a few steps up going down there.
It's, again, similar movement to what you would have produced down at far leg there, Geoff.
You reckon?
He was a bit on his heels, wasn't he?
A bit stiff. It is a long boundary.
It's a good wedge.
Yep. In goes Stokes again. Balls, and that's beautifully played off the back foot by Dowrich, who it'd be interesting how he approaches this, because he had such a terrible tour here last time. Barely got a run. I think got about 24 or 25 runs in 6 innings. He had an absolute shocker.
It looks like he's come out to try and surpass those runs for the whole series in a few balls.
He's played some good shots. 198 for 5. 6 runs in it then.
I think the captain of England just chirped him a little bit with that last shot.
Did he?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of words exchanged.
Stokes bowls to him, full. Darrich is just hanging back a little bit. Burns fields it. Cover as it's played defensively.
Interesting though, Ben Stokes, the captain. Dom Bess had done such a good job. He gets it for a couple of. Remember, he just got the wicket at Blackwood, and Dowridge comes and hits a couple of boundaries. He took him off straight away. So he saw something in Dowridge that, you know, he didn't like in terms of facing the spin. He thought, I better get the seams on straight away.
The Brooks caught behind was an interesting passage of play. Then goes Stokes, bowls, Darrich ducks under the bounce, so he gets right underneath it. Stokes, yes, he's glared at him there, possibly a word passed or two. 198 for 5. I was having a cuppa on the balcony. I heard it from there. Big nick.
Yeah, I was on the television doing it, and you know, sometimes there are those little grey areas of batsmen where they can be a little bit unsure of whether it's brushed the inside edge or the outside edge or
I believe
the
it.
glove. But on that occasion, when the bat's away from the body,
Yeah.
you know as a batsman when that ball has brushed the outside edge of your bat.
It burned a review off. I heard it. I was up here. But, very big nick. Now, having a drinks break, and these take a little bit longer than the usual drinks break because you've got to go through a bit of a sort of sanitisation procedure. So each player has his own bottle, and there'll be sanitizer brought out, and the umpires the same, and so on. The ground staff have appeared wearing surgical masks, brushing away at the creases. The usual thing, but they do allow a bit of extra time for this in these games now. 198 for 5. West Indies are just 6 runs behind. They've got 5 wickets left. Floodlights are on again because there's some cloud coming over on the horizon, but thankfully we haven't lost any play today, and currently on course for a 7 o'clock end of play. Half an hour still being added on from the time that we lost on the first couple of days. Half an hour to bowl. The overs, presumably. How many overs are left? I'm getting a bit lost to this. I can't see it on the board. Oh, 53. There we are. 53 left. There's a lot of cricket left.
Lots of cricket to be played today. England will hope that they're going to be batting for a number of those 53, and you'd feel that they're going to have to really get back into this test match. They need to get the 5 wickets first and foremost, and then they're going to have to bat a lot better. I don't think the ball's doing as much as it did on days 1 and 2, but I think the West Indies have got a great chance because of the vulnerability of the England batting lineup. We know and have seen over the last few years, particularly in English conditions, when the ball does something or they're up against it as a team, very rarely have they got out of the situation. So it's going to be a real test for this England side.
You can watch the wickets that have fallen, other highlights that happened today via the BBC Sport website and the app, and of course there's Today at the Test on BBC 2 from 7 o'clock, showing those highlights, which are also available on the iPlayer. You can watch them when you like. A lot of my colleagues very smartly dressed these days.
Well, I'd like to think I've been smartly dressed for a few years, Jonathan.
They've all brushed up a bit, I think.
I've never seen Phil Tufnell in the morning.
Nor have I.
Nipping. He's putting all sorts on his hair. He's got wax, gel.
I know. I bet he's even smartly dressed at breakfast.
Yes, it's a worry, isn't it?
It's incredible. Tell me about the Marmite you found outside your door. Do we know who brought that up?
No, it was just a paper bag yesterday afternoon, late. Yeah, I just had a knock on the door. I thought it was Phil. He's next door. He generally comes in for a chat now and again, socially distanced, of course. And there they were, the bag of Marmites, little things, you know, kind of the travel ones that you would take on a picnic.
So we don't know who brought them up.
No idea.
They even had them out at lunchtime. I said to the very nice woman there serving the food, I said, look, honestly, I know about the Marmite and I've been talking about it, but not even I have Marmite for lunch. But it was all laid out. Here's Archer, and that's played calmly into the offside by Chasers, leaning forward.
Someone's just going to smother your bed in Marmite.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily go. I'd often put it in mashed potato.
Do you?
Yeah, and shepherd's pie.
Yeah, I get that, shepherd's pie.
Mashed potato, a little bit of mashed potato, a little bit of grated cheese, and maybe just a teaspoon of Marmite.
Well, toasted cheese and Marmite, it's a delicacy. There are some restaurants that actually sell that. They do it as a starter. Very nice.
Archer runs in smoothly, bowls, and Chase plays that slightly across the line, hence the noise you heard there from the slip fielders.
I don't think they're the kind of restaurants that you eat in, to be honest, Jonathan, but
Oh, I don't mind. Well, if you tell me where they are, and I'll go. Love it, love it.
a bit of Henderson's relish, that's what you need.
Yes, I'd never heard of that.
Andy's, are you a Henderson's relish, Andy?
Well, I did a stand-up gig in Sheffield, which people could email requests for
Were they
topics.
spraying you with Henderson's
Well,
relish?
someone said satirise Henderson's relish and walked up to the stage with a bottle. And I was then goaded by the crowd into drinking it neat from the bottle, which proved to be something of an error, as I'm sure you would testify.
Archer bowls down the leg side. Chase can't get anything on that. It bounced a second time, kept very low.
So you necked a whole bottle of Henderson's relish?
You better tell us what this is.
Well,
this stuff.
it's like Worcester sauce, but
Right.
there's no
But
anchovies
better.
in it.
But better.
But better. I'm going to defer to you on that one. Strongly flavoured, and definitely not a thing to drink neat on it. I didn't do the whole bottle. I think I did one mouthful and then had to.
Oh,
It's very nice.
right. That's how, so it is that sort of meaty sort of.
Yeah, it's a
Worcestershire
Liam
sauce.
Perrins Worcester sauce-ish kind of sauce, yeah.
Archer bowls slower ball outside the off stump, which Chase ignores. Collected again by Butler. Just 6 runs in it. He's got 5 wickets in hand.
Very good with a bowl of chips as well. Nice bowl of chips, sprinkling of Henderson's.
Look out for that.
There's a chap down here walking his dog. Is that the groundsman's dog?
Is it
down
Winston?
there? Is that Winston, is it?
It is Winston. Oh, this is terrific.
Is that
Oh, he's such a lovely little cocker spaniel. Here's Archer bowling, and that hits Chase this time. It was a bouncer that he got underneath, and it's come away down to the boundary. So they're going to get 4-leg buys for that. And yeah, good old. He's on a lead.
So he wants to get off that lead. You can see, look, he's itching,
straining
isn't he?
a bit, yeah. He's a lovely. He's only 20 months old. He's just so full of life and fun. Golden. It's like my Bumble. He's golden.
I had a text last night from my 10-year-old. I'd only been away 3 days just to announce that we have a new pet.
Oh,
We've got a new
another
rabbit.
dog?
Another rabbit.
A rabbit?
Yeah, second one.
Oh, right.
Morph. A big one he is. It looks like he likes eating.
Archer bowls on the off stump. It's played out to point by Chase, and there's no run. So one of those house rabbits.
No, outside. We got a rabbit quite early in lockdown. And it lived indoors for a while. I managed, when we were able to go and play golf, I managed to sneak out golfing, and when I came back they kind of kept me at one side of the house for a while.
Right.
And my wife kept on giving me a glass of rosé, and I said, "No, this is very nice." And I could hear the drilling going on in the background, and I kept on being deferred with another glass, and eventually I snuck around the side of the house, and they've built a rabbit house on the side of the house, which yes,
Well, it's got an
you
extra.
can imagine my response.
Oh, well, yes.
So now there's 2 rabbits in there.
Oh dear. 202 for 5. Stokes on his way. Moves in bowls, and Durrett is on the back foot playing back to the bowler. There's no run. I thought I heard Tuffer say not for long.
We do have a few foxes around the area.
Oh no, he can't have that.
Yeah, there are a few, but don't worry. He's got he's very well protected. I have to go and they have cages inside there as well. So my job is that generally at night to go and put the rabbit back in the hutch.
I think Tuffer's meant that he probably have more than 2, is what he was actually saying.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
In
as well.
goes Stokes bowls, and that's flicked away, pulled away really by Durrett. Down to deep square leg, another run.
So they only trail by 1, I guess.
Yeah, 203 for 5, 1 run in it. West Indies day. They've taken 4 wickets now, England, but they've never really been in control today.
9 of the last 16 overs have been maidens.
Chase on 16 from 67 balls. It's waiting for Stokes in a sleeveless sweater, running in and bowling to him. He comes easily forward again. Just make that defensive shot look very simple.
Oh, I just had some bad news here. I guess I just had a text from my friend, my next door neighbour, saying really bad news. The pub is shut down. Local pub shut down. What am I going to do?
What, closed down as in?
It's just obviously gone through difficulty recently, and it's shut.
It's a
Disappointing.
lot of outside, look, all sorts of things.
Just seen Jofra Archer in his last over bowl, one of those knuckle balls.
Yeah.
It's just been replayed on the television.
Stokes again bowls another bouncer. Chase.
I think it's the ball, I guess,
underneath it.
that because he hits the pitch so hard and he's bowling around 90 miles an hour, as a batsman you'd be thinking, it's going to be around hip height playing in that kind of zone. I think that knuckleball could be a real good ball for him in Test cricket, because your weight will be back, and if he disguises it brilliantly, he kind of brings his fingers back onto the ball, into the knuckle, and he just has the same action. It just floats out. Remember Fernando for Sri Lanka used to get quite a few wickets, the big fella.
Yep.
Remember that?
It's so clever how they,
Yeah.
I don't know how they get the length right. That's the big thing. Stokes again bowls, and Chase on the back foot plays it back to the bowler.
Courtney Walsh used to bowl a kind of
Yes.
used to spread his fingers quite wide. It was a little bit more obvious than
It was.
the knuckleball.
The disguise these days of T20 is
Franklin
unbelievable.
Stevenson, he used to.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I was just talking about him with Simon Mann, actually. But his was more of an off, because he had a very gangly action, arms and legs all over the place. The ball would just come out, and he was more like an off spinner. Chris Cairns bowled a very good one, too.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Winston's over there, look to the left, he's almost made it back to his digs. In goes Stokes, the off stump, turning the onside, going for a quick single. Stokes comes bustling across, but the batsman has made it. 204 for 5. Chase 17. Darich has 13. So the score's effectively level, and in fact totally level, apart from the fact that West Indies have got still 5 wickets to go.
Was Chase's first run against seam bowling for over 20 overs. In that time he did 3 singles against Bess, only faced 1 ball of Jimmy Anderson's 7-over spell, and played out a couple of maidens from Archer.
Well, he's going to face Archer again now. Scores level, 204 for 5. What will the West Indies lead be? How's Ben Stokes doing, do you think?
I think he's done well. I would think that at lunchtime he probably had a chat with Chris Silverton, and he would have addressed the team to be more disciplined, bowl to a bit more of the old school way of bowling here in English conditions.
Here's Archer, nice length, but wide of the off stump. It's ignored by Chase.
When you go for 2 bowlers that bowl around 90 miles an hour, it doesn't mean that the only way they can bowl is whacking the ball into the pitch. And they can't just be a one type of kind of skill level bowler. You've still got to have the ability, even when you're at that pace, to say, okay, the conditions are pitch up conditions, you've got to get the ball up. All right, the sun was shining a bit more in the morning session, but it was still a pitch where you needed to bring the batsman forward a lot more than 53%. That was short. We've just gone back to a bit of old school stuff.
Archer makes Chase play this time. He's on the front foot.
But it required Jimmy, didn't it?
Yeah.
Jimmy and I thought Dominic Bess is having a terrific game. 31 not out, 2 for 30 so far.
We had a good tour of South Africa. I mean, it was right that they should continue with him.
He just looks like a real energised cricketer that you just like to have in your team.
Yeah. Archer gives the ball a final polish. Now he's on his way. Chase waits for him, bat raised, now on the back foot. The ball's just short of a length and played away calmly into the offside. It's Bess himself who picks it up there, gives it a rub. He's having a conversation with Rory Burns, who's at extra cover.
Yeah, I think Ben Stokes he's done well. I thought he reacted quite nicely there to Dowridge coming out and hitting Dominic Bess for a couple of boundaries down the ground over the top. He just went, okay, I'm not going to allow you to do that, I'm going to bowl. Obviously going to attack the spinner. I'll turn to the seamers, so I think he's reacted quite nicely.
Archer, short of a length, and there's going to be 1 there for Chase. Running the ball down to third man. It's Denley who comes up, throws the ball in. Nice return for Josh Butler at the stumps. 205 for 5, so now the West Indies are in the lead.
Yeah, but ultimately as a captain, Aggers, you're kind of doing the tactical manoeuvring out in the field, but it's going to be how his individual batsmen come out and bat in the second innings. If they bat like they did in the first innings, the chance that they're going to go 1-0 down in the series, because they will be under pressure. The West Indies have obviously got a lead now, and it's going to be something that's going to be tricky to manage, whatever the time is when England go out to bat. So as a captain, you depend upon obviously the individuals.
Archer bowls down the leg side, and Darich flicked the bat at it. There was a cry out from somebody there, but obviously didn't hit anything. 205 for 5. Umpire again just checking that front foot of Archer's. He's been denied 1 wicket today because he overstepped.
Yeah, I heard a conversation on the stump mark with Richard Kettleby with Jimmy Anderson when he was bowling from the far end, and it was very mature. He just said, Jimmy, just getting a little bit close to the follow-through. Just be careful. And he said, Jimmy coming in, he just showed him a couple of spots that he'd landed in that were the danger zone.
There's Archer, bowls, Darwish forward, thinks about driving, but then just holds back a bit and plays out to cover.
And I like that. It was a little bit. You'd have had it in your time. The umpires would have talked to the bowler.
Totally.
You know, you're getting a bit too close. You know,
Yeah,
you're
get
getting
back,
a little
get
bit too
back.
cleose to that danger zone. Come back, Jimmy. Go. Thank you, mate. Thanks for letting me know.
Well, they don't want to call no balls. You don't want no balls and things. I remember arguing with someone last year. I think we were talking about this, and he was a club umpire. I think. Well, I don't do that. No, actually, you should do that. It is part of the game. It's to keep the game flowing, keep it moving. Just tell the bowler he's getting tight. Some bowlers don't like it. Say, I'm not no balling, am I? So shut up. I've heard one or two say that. But
I guess it's down to the umpires to kind of work out the different individual characters.
yeah.
There's Winston.
Winston's on the
He's
telly.
TV.
205 for 5. There he is if you're watching. In goes Stokes. Very full wide ball, that one. Chase ignores it. 205 for 5. Yep, he's there sitting on his owner's knee at the groundsman.
He's not happy. He wants to go on the grass.
He wants to run.
Yeah, he's trying to get off. He said, come on, let me on.
He's only a pup.
He's like, oh, you're all these people in my garden.
Well, it must be his first season, I suppose, this, isn't it? His first international. 205 for 5. Stokes bowls on the off stump. Pushed away out to point. I suppose for a groundsman who spends most of his life sitting on a roller or something, a dog's perfect company.
I think I'll have a dog if I was a groundsman. Not too sure I'll have a couple of rabbits, but I've got 2 rabbits.
We had a rather bad experience in Fisher-Capatnam with a dog, didn't we? Where the dog ran on. I don't know if it's the groundsman's or not.
When he nicked the trainer.
But he raided the dressing room, didn't he? He went in, stole somebody's shoe.
He came out with a trainer.
I'm not ever sure what happened to that in the end.
What, the trainer or the dog?
Yes, well, both. Stokes, one keeps low outside the off stump. Chase ignores it because, of course, as soon as the security guards came running on...
He was too quick for them.
Yeah, he just thought it was a game. He was on there for some time. In fact, he was in the dressing room for some time. I think they got play going again, didn't they?
I think
and then he reappeared.
I think you were quite close to getting a call from Crufts from the way that you commentated that for about 5 minutes.
Well, there was an unfortunate one at Guyana in the old border ground. Did you ever play there?
Yes.
Lovely old spot. So the next one from Stokes, pushed away into the offside, and there's no run. But a dog came on there, and I'm not quite sure where he came from. And unfortunately, he did disgrace himself just literally at the start of the bowler's run-up, and the groundsman had to come on with a shovel. That was an unusual interruption in play.
I remember playing for Yorkshire at Maidstone. Richie Richardson, after lunch, he went out to field with his brimmer on, and he refused to continue to field because there was a dog deposit.
Oh, was it?
Where he was fielding. He refused.
I blame him.
Until the ground staff came with the shovels.
Now we've got a deep square leg, so they're going to tempt Chase here maybe, or at least put it in his mind that he might get a bouncer. There's 2 balls left in the over. Stokes moves in, bowls a low full toss though, driven out to cover. Nice field there by Burns though, rolling over to his left. Another yard or so, and that might have gone for 4, but a bluff there from Stokes. But the man out for the short ball and then went full. Didn't quite get the length right. West Indies lead by 1 run. Stokes wheels round again. Elbows jutting out, over the wicket he goes. Bowls, and that's tucked away by Chase down to mid-on. And that's the end of that over. And Allison's coming round the wicket this time. We never quite know where the next commentator's going to come from, but she's coming round from the wall side, the right-hand side, which is great. She's coming in now. Sir Alistair Cook is... I'm going to leave you, Alistair, I'm afraid. But I'll leave you with your thoughts, and then Alison's coming in here.
Sorry, I've just been given a mint by Adam Mountford. It's our producer. It's stuck in my teeth. I haven't got too much to say, Aggers. I thought you were going to keep going for a minute. You've left me with fresh breath, but not being able to talk. Anyway, it's always sorry, Alison. Say, get that microphone quick.
I've entered stage right.
around the corner from the from the wall. I think you've been stitched up by the producer there. Never accept sweets in the commentary box. The sun's starting to come out again. It was a strange sort of afternoon. It felt so different to the morning session, and now I guess the cloud's starting to clear a little more. Here is Archer in over the wicket, and it's outside edge, and it's steered away between the gap between slips and gully for 4, down to third man boundary. The West Indies are in the lead. The lead is 5, 209 for 5. An opportunity to try and actually take some control of the game.
Just a bit of fortune for Durridge there. It's gone between, their 4th slip and point for 4. I think Jofra Archer's really bowled well in this spell. He hasn't bowled quite as quick. He's bowled very good control. England have set more defensive fields. They've applied the brakes, a bit more patient. Like Roston Chase is 18 of 81 balls.
Archer in again, that's a beauty. Outside the off stump, through to the keeper. Dowrich 17, wanders away towards square leg.
He feels another crucial bit of the game, isn't it, Ali? With until tea, another hour or so until tea. I think we're thinking we get another couple of wickets, 2 or 3 wickets. West Indies think we can hang through here. Obviously, Chase is thinking, hang in, put more miles in the leg. The new ball's due pretty soon in 10 overs.
Still feels well balanced at this point in time, doesn't it? In goes Archer again. That's got him up on his toes. Dowrich springing in a quick single wing taken, and the shot at the stumps, and he's made it through for the 1. Roston Chase was running to the danger end, and it was a fair effort coming scampering forward, and Rory Burns ended up flat on his front after he delivered the underarm throw, but it didn't hit the stumps.
I'd love Simon Mann to be there. No, could he keep saying he would have got the decision right? Would he have made it?
I
would love to see how Simon was and say, given it's cool, I think he just would have made it with a direct hit just in, I think.
I'll give you that one over the line.
That was with replay. That was
Archer stutter and then retreats. Batsman wasn't ready, but he is now. Chase facing up, 2 slips. The third man back on the boundary now. Archer in and allows it to go outside the off stump. Step across from Chase, and he lets it go through. I hadn't realised that, I'd forgotten, I think I had known, Roston Chase played a little bit in the Sussex Premier League and had actually faced Archer at a time when Archer was sort of about 20 years old, playing for Middleton-on-Sea, I think it was, and Chase was playing for Cuckfield, that's how you pronounce it, Cuckfield in the Sussex Premier League. And there's any other club cricketers who are gearing up for play, either this weekend or next, who might have had Roston Chase as a teammate at some stage. Any stories you can share of getting to know him? Here's Archer in again, outside the off stump, sticks to that channel, through to Butler, and no run.
So what team was Jofra playing for?
Jofra at Middleton-on-Sea, I think it was.
Imagine if your first game back from lockdown was this week, a few years ago, and Jofra was in Middleton-on-Sea. I think you got to see the friendly list. Fancy he hadn't had a knock for probably 18 months, and you had to face Jofra. And probably not the best surface ever. I think I might be giving that on a week and
might just wake up with a twisted ankle that morning.
I might as well wait a week.
Well, club cricket's an interesting one, actually, because I think there's a lot of clubs who aren't resuming this weekend, even though they technically can, as Archer's in, tied to that time, forces a shot, and Chase is defending into the onside. There's no run to end the over. West Indies 210 for 5, a slender lead of 6 with an hour to go until tea. And a chance to try and extend that lead. And if they can go into tea still only at 5 down, they'll have done a very good job this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about club cricket. It is interesting, say, for the young guys at Essex, because we've gone back into training. I'm sitting here commentating on TV. I'm not doing any training at all, but the guys...
I had a rumour you'd been in the gym.
Yeah, I always like spreading those rumours, just in case Anthony McGrath, coach, is listening, and the strength and conditioning guy. I did promise I'll try. But they've gone back into training, obviously, under these... they're not in a bubble, but obviously following the guidelines of the social distancing and everything which goes with it, and filling in these forms. But obviously, club cricket is starting on Saturday, and a lot of the players are associated with clubs, and it'd be a great time to get out and play in the middle. But obviously, I'm not actually allowed to. I don't think they're allowed to this weekend. Just with the regulations, trying not to. See, with Essex trying to protect every player as well. It's really, really, really complicated to know actually what the right thing to do is.
Just having a quick glance out in the middle. Is this the He's been out. Ben Stokes taking a painkiller, is it? Looks like he's taken some sort of tablet.
Yeah, it's hard to identify the physio, but it is Craig Deviman. It is the physio, Craig, with his apron on, his gloves, his mask.
Fully PPE'd up. I gather, she'll come back to the club cricket point in a minute, but I think Craig Deviman's, his point, if you like, his physio room is al fresco. Mark Wood was telling me that the physio is being done from the top tier of the pavilion for, I guess, health and safety reasons, to be out in the fresh air, etc. So he's become an al fresco physio.
He's got the best physio run, I know. They're always, we've had Kurt Russell who ran a bit like a crab coming onto the field. But he's got a lovely technical run running on.
It's Mark Wood with the new over to Dowrich. It's full. He's driving, but not cleanly, into the covers, and there's no run. We'll keep an eye on Ben Stokes as he's nearly taken some sort of tablet. Not exactly sure what, of course, but we'll keep an eye on him for sure. Quick note here from Stefan Schemmelt from the BBC Sport website, who reminds us that Jofra played in the same side as George Garton. Imagine both of them coming up in the same team facing you in club cricket. That'd be a tricky one to start with.
Yeah, George is a quick left armer from Sussex, slings them down.
Wood running away from us. Bright sunshine again here. Still a little bit of cloud overhead. Wood is in, going back. Forced into the offside once more. Picks out the fielder though, and no run. Andy's poised for a moment.
Well, how well West Indies have played as a team, just the 1/2 century from Brathwaite, but their top 7 have all reached double figures. No team has done that against England in their last 20 Test matches England have played. The last instance was India in August 2018, and West Indies only the 4th team to do to have all 7 in the all top 7 reach double figures against England in England in the last 9 summers.
The only team to have all 7 reach.
So that's sorry, I'll
Here's Wood.
Clarify that stat after this ball.
Wood in again. Defence into the offside, no run.
I had the wrong window open when I started it on my computer. It's the third time, in fact, since in the last 9 summers, so 2012 onwards, that a visiting team's top 7 have all reached double figures in an innings in England. So it's pretty rare and shows how well they've dug in as a team.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Whether that's England slightly off the pace in terms of the bowling as well, with the big gap that they've had, but I do think this team have come here with a real amount of determination and shown patience and discipline. I'm not quite sure about Jermaine Blackwood. That was an entertaining sort of knock. But here is Wooden again, flashing away through the vacant point region out to the boundary. Dowrich comes back for a second. Throw comes into the gloves of Buttler.
Yeah, and also the conditions, which with experience, I know everyone's going to say England won the toss and chose to bat under the overhead conditions, and it's going to could become a first innings game versus a fourth innings game. The scale what the pitch would do on day 5, but I think Jason Holder was getting about 2.7 degrees worth of swing. That was on day 2, and Jimmy was getting 0.6 today. So it just shows with the blue sky out.
Wood bounding at the crease, a short ball. It's been well dealt with by Dowrich, up on his toes. Defends it down into the ground towards Anderson at mid-off.
How much effect that the overhead has had actually on this game so far. England will want the sun to come out now. Because of choosing to bat first on those conditions, they want this pitch to go up and down. Obviously, we said this morning that we thought it would be the best time to bat today, possibly the first session on tomorrow, and then they'll want that unevenness to happen, but I think it's dying a little bit of pace, actually, a little bit slower, isn't it, today than it has been.
And they'll want Dom Bess, particularly Stokes will want Dom Bess to come to the fore in the final innings. Attempted drive again, good diving stop, half stop at short extra cover, saves a run, 212 for 5, the West Indies ahead by 8. And looking to play the patience game, stay together, stay out there, let the runs come, score off poor balls if they're there to be scored from. On the club cricket front, I was looking in particular at, I think, a number of clubs, because it was a very quick turnaround, wasn't it, from Boris Johnson suddenly saying that club cricket can come back this weekend. And a number of clubs, I think, during that week some of them very quickly took a decision to say, look, we don't actually have guidelines. There's more than just saying, yes, club cricket can resume. There's a lot to think about. So some, in particular the Northants Cricket League, that I have a bit of an association with, that they immediately went, right, we're going to look at the 18th of July, so next weekend. Yeah. And looking on Twitter, a few other leagues have done the same. A few people telling me that the North East Premier League will be the 18th, Thames Valley League, the Hearts League. The Norfolk Cricket League, somebody tells me, was abandoned the season some time ago. The Berkshire League cancelled. I don't know whether those leagues are coming together now and they will actually create a different type of.
Yeah, well, are you having a proper league in Northampton?
Well,
Is it just a shortened tournament, or
yeah, when I say I have an association with
I'm just
Northampton,
checking now. Well, you're wearing Northampton's colours actually.
Well,
today.
I've actually got the burgundy on, or you could say West Indies colours. No, I know a lot of people involved in it, and I host their end of season dinner, so I've been keeping in touch with them throughout this. And out of 70, they've got 72 clubs in their leagues. It's a huge number of divisions. I mean, when we do the end of season presentation, I mean, the trophy table is enormous. Don Best from the Pavilion end coming back into the attack now. So let's see if he's perhaps got some footmarks from that end to bowl into. Not much at this stage of the game, is there? But let's see if a change of ends works for him. The first ball was defended into the offside. One slip in place as Chase is on strike. He's in now. It's full driven up towards mid-off. Doesn't get it past the field though. And it's Archer going down to pick up, and there's no run. They've done a bit of a divisional restructure. So they're looking at a 10-week competition, as I understand it. So every team, I think, will get around maybe about 7 games, and then quarterfinals and a semi-final. So like mini knockout competitions. Played away past Stokes at slip. He's now chasing back to the third man boundary. And they save 4. They come back. They run 3 there.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. Takes the lead up to 11.
So there's no promotion and relegation then.
No, because it's not a It won't be a standard competition.
No.
But about a 10-week season to be able to get into play some meaningful, competitive cricket. And I was hearing this morning that out of the 72 clubs in the league, actually only 2 would have been threatened with sort of closure, going out of existence if there'd been no cricket played at all. So a lot have been able to get grants from local councils, for example. Bess in again, flights that one in, and it's been drilled into the ground and into the hands of extra cover. No run. What kind of role do you think Bess will play here then? Because he's bowled with great control, didn't he, from the other end when he was in partnership with Anderson straight after lunch. He's up to the wicket now, past the umpire. A little quicker that time off the back foot. Hasn't timed it into the onside, no run.
Yeah, it's more of the same for me. He bowled an attacking line to start with, which got Hope out. I think he's bowled a little bit more defensively after lunch, which I think is probably the right call. A little bit straighter, but I'm not quite challenging both sides of the bat as many times. More majority of the ball straight with the odd one slightly wider, attacking off stump.
Bess in, there's an attacking stroke that has beat the infield and will go for 4 from Shane Dowrich. Short extra cover was there, couldn't stop it.
Yeah, so that's the attacking line. You've got the chance of getting the nicked off stump, but obviously you risk a bit of risk reward, because if you don't get your length absolutely spot on with no rough to bowl on, it becomes a bit of an easier shot because the batsman can free their arms a bit and gives them a bit more width to play. So I wonder if there's a bit of a meeting there with the vice captain Jos Buttler and Ben Stokes in the middle of the wicket with Don Best, whether they are going to go back just a holding role for him for the first innings. Graham Swan was always talking to me about it, where he really learnt to bowl at Trent Bridge, the holding role, because obviously he was at Northants, and him and Monty and Jason Brown was the other off spinner. They could have played 3 spinners. Yes. They did play 3 spinners, and he learned to bowl on turning wickets. But actually, some of the skill of bowling, certainly in Test cricket, is actually that first innings where he doesn't spin in, that holding role of 3 seam. We played 3 seamers quite a lot and just 1 spin. So Graham Swan bowled a lot of the donkey overs in that first day. Not spent to get Pfeiffer, but he definitely bowled straighter with lots of control. And then in the second innings would then bowl wider that attacking line. And you remember some of those jaffers he bowled getting to the gate. Well, he reminded everyone of them anyway.
The lead is 15. Here's Wood, I think for an awkward length, doesn't quite find it. It's been well played by Chase. Steers it out past point towards the boundary. Comes back for 2. Throw comes back into the middle. I quite like that. You get a feel that Don Best wants to be an enterprising kind of off spinner to create chances and be an attacking bowler.
No, that is his character, isn't it? We saw with his batters, pugnacious batting, attacking, always taking the attacking option. But there are times where you are going to have to, just step back a little bit and be a little bit more defensive. But I've seen great improvement. I think we've seen from his bowling from when he first came onto the England setup a couple of years ago.
Wood bounding at the crease down the leg side. He got some bat on it, did he? There's half an appeal from Wood. It's gone very, very fine down to the boundary. Leg byes are going to be signalled. 221 for 5. So the lead goes up to 17.
A little bit of not a danger time for England, but with the new ball, 8 overs away, they don't want to chase it here. This is where they've got, again, another bit of a patience time for England. Mark Wood, it's not in his nature to be a pace. He is that aggressive bowler, and this is the side they picked. He's going to try and chase it. He's got to try and hang around that off stump. He's got a defensive field, which I think is right for how old the ball is. Just a few more dots. Going to wait for the second new ball, and if we get one more, 6 down, Jason Holder, the new ball, is what they'll be targeting.
Yep, it's got just the 2 slips, points, cover, mid-off, mid-on and mid-wicket. That one's got back in a touch towards mid-on, and there's no run. Amazing when he, talking about Graham Swan, and he evolved as a mature spinner, didn't he, when he sort of came back in for his second coming, if you like. You think of it as his test debut with India, but he'd had his first go at England when he quite openly says he wasn't ready for it, then when Duncan Fletcher was in charge, and then came back as a mature bowler. He'd already got an awful lot of bowl overs under his belt.
Yeah, well, he'd obviously learned how to bowl on a spinning wicket at Northants, which he did a lot, and then his next bit was learning how to bowl on a non-turning wicket, which was Trent Bridge.
Wood in, bouncer swaying out of the way. Austin Chase, the tall man, through to the keeper.
And obviously took him, I can't remember, how was he, 28 when he made his second cut?
Yeah, 2008, wasn't it, in India?
Yeah, it was 2008 in India. He was about 28, I think, when he made his test debut. Those number of years, probably from 21 to, that 7 years of learning his path. And obviously, I don't think he was going to play much with Duncan Fletcher in charge anyway.
Sometimes personalities are just not built to go together. But Dom Bess is only 22. He's got so much learning to do.
He's got a huge potential.
Yeah. Here is Wood again, then running away. Chase stands tall, gets a full of delivery, and Wood's fallen over in his follow through. Strangled shouts, I think, the ball squeezing bat pad, and then up to mid off. Mark Wood was, I guess, understandably quite disappointed yesterday, and I said to him, are you happy that you got your speeds up? And well, yes, of course, but I want to get wickets in the column, and that's what his job is, he says.
That's just starting to angle a tiny bit, and that is a hint of reverse swing. I wonder if Ben Stokes might move that one of the fields on the offside, go a little bit 5-4 leg side, bring everything into play just for a few overs, when Mark Wood bowl a little bit straighter, which you get rewards on this wicket, but give him a bit of protection with a catchy mid-wicket.
Leads up to 21, Wood in on length, and it's defended into the offside.
Just angling in a little bit. We're not talking whack a unit reverse swing here at all, but just a hint.
225 for 5 at the end of that over. I suppose one thing about not using saliva on the ball is that you think it's going to get drier quick or easy to stay dry, which is one of the preconditions, isn't it, for a reverse swing?
One side has to be dry. One has to be as dry as anything. But as we've kept on mentioning, although it's quite a lush outfield where it looks green, that square is dry. If we'd been, say, a normal season with some other county cricket being played on this ground before that, I think the pitch would be, the other square would be drier as well with it, the wicket ends.
Do you think you ever fully sort of got your head around why and what conditions would help the ball to reverse swing when you were captain?
Yeah, no, we knew how to do it. Yeah, we absolutely.
We were pretty effective at it.
We did know how to do it, and why it happened, why a dry ball. It's like, why does a brand new ball swing? And that's it, because both sides are exactly the same. So then it does have to be something to do with the seam position.
Well, that's acting as a rudder in that case, isn't it?
It is, but that only lasts for a very short.
Bess, new over into Darrich, who's driving up to mid-on quite neatly to take a single.
So that goes down the argument, should you shine both sides? Because actually a brand new ball does swing. So you should maybe shine both sides the first 10 overs or so to keep it as smooth, both sides as smooth as you can to aid that.
But the problem is, I guess, both sides will get scuffed up as you go along as well, either on the pitch or by the bat.
Well, that's what you do, then you're shining it to try and make it smoother. So it is a little bit strange.
And the science of cricket balls.
Yeah, but clearly we all know they get the ball one side as dry as you can.
Mark was just come up on fine leg, and Bess is in. Defence from Chase back up the pitch. He's picking up on his follow through.
Played very responsibly, isn't he, here, Chase? We're at 23 of 94 balls, so really digging in.
Here is Bess, getting full. Chipping it up towards mid-on. There's thought of a single, and Dowrich at the other end is told to go back by Chase, which he duly does.
The mid-on and mid-off are up, and they're close. And you've been battling as well as you have done. Was that you think, am I going over the top? I know Jermaine Blackwood was, I'm going over the top.
Great discipline from the batsman at the moment. Flick of the wrist to a quick single to mid-on. It's picked up and the throw isn't released, and they've gone through safely. But you do get a sense when batsmen are itching to go. You know, it's build of pressure. Can they keep the lid on that pressure and not go for the rash shot? Just think time, let this lead accumulate. Andy.
Chase had a 3 in Bess's last over, followed by a 2 off Wood in successive balls that he faced. He'd scored only 5 in his previous 73 deliveries.
Here is Bess past the umpire in now, and Dowrich covers up. Plays very straight back up the pitch.
But like every sport, but you're judged on the results, aren't they? Because Blackwood came dancing down the wicket and hit it straight at mid-off, and everyone will be criticising what a poor shot. Dowrich's second or third ball to Bess, he came dancing down the wicket and hit it over mid-on for 4, and everyone was saying what a great shot. Now if you'd have clothed that, sorry, we missed a ball there, but if you'd have clothed that and got out, everyone with all of us would say, what are you doing now on the second ball? Your innings, you haven't faced him much, and you know you're never going to hit that shot. So it is, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and when it is a great shot, we're all of us will say, oh, you're taking the initiative away from Dom Bess, you're fighting back. If you mess it up, you look a bit silly and you get criticised for it. So that is sport.
All about the end result. Alistair going to have a change here with Simon Mann coming in. That last ball of the over was a dot. 2:27 for 5 then the score remains, and the West Indies now have about 40 minutes until tea to try and build up this lead. So Alistair, a few more thoughts and then Simon.
Yes, I haven't really got any thoughts planned at the moment now, but I think quickly now, are they going to bring another one? They have brought another man across to Roston Chase, so they've got a 5-4 field. It looks like they're going to go a bit straighter, which I think is the right thing to do with this ball, just hinting to reverse swing.
Just looking at Jofra Archer's speeds in his 3 spells, 1 yesterday, 2 today.
Here goes Wood to bowl to Chase. Chase defends. We've said that a lot this afternoon. Goes to mid-wicket and there is no run. 2:27 for 5.
Archer's spell yesterday averaged 88.9 miles an hour, bowled 44% of his deliveries in that spell full. His first spell today, 86 miles an hour, 51% short, only 13% full. And his third spell, very economical, bowled 3 maidens out of his 5 overs, just 6 runs conceded, but down to 83 miles an hour, but again pitching it further up, a third of the balls were full.
2:27 for 5. 23 runs ahead, West Indies. There's Chase looking up to see Wood roaring in. Wood bowls. Chase seems to have plenty of time to get in behind that, playing it up towards mid-on, even though it's 90.1 miles per hour. And there's 2 quick bowlers in this game, Wood and Archer, yet to take a wicket. Anderson with 2, Stokes with 1, and Bess with 2, and the game fascinatingly poised with a new ball 5.4 overs away. T's actually going to be at 5-4 today. It's a bit confusing. The time lost yesterday, 5-4 T, so that's just over 20 minutes away. West Indies 5 down, battling for a significant lead. Here goes Wood, short, he really bangs that into the pitch, falls over, and it just barely came through at all in a way to Roston Chase. Seemed to have plenty of time, was waiting for it. A sluggish surface, played out towards mid-wicket, and there's no run. Sluggish but uneven. Hint of uneven bounce.
Yeah, we've seen a bit less of that uneven bounce today, actually, haven't we?
Yeah. 1 or 2 that's just kept a bit lower than you would have thought, but not many have risen. Perhaps some seem to have had a bit of time. Here is Chase facing a short ball that flies, a ballooning bouncer, flies over his left shoulder and through to Butler down the leg side. The umpires confer there just to see whether that was going to be a wide. They decide against calling it a wide. The lights are on. Overcast at the moment, but mercifully today, play unbroken so far, and the forecast good, so that the game is set up for all 3 results. Actually, they're still all in the frame. 2:27 for 5. West Indies edging ahead in terms of who's favourite to win the game. Here is Wood bowling outside the off stump. Forward goes Chase, plays it defensively towards mid-off, and there's no run. It's been a remarkable effort from Chase. He was 13 not out at lunchtime. He's 24 now, so what's that, 11 runs in the afternoon session in nearly 2 hours.
Jeffrey will be pleased, wouldn't he?
I think he's probably scored a bit too quickly for him.
I wonder if Mark Wood might just turn the ball around here, see if he can get the ball to reverse out. Just a hint. I think all 5 balls he's bowled pretty straight. One bouncer, but definitely coming into Ross and Chase. I wonder if we can just get it to hold its line. Will the ball do that?
Wood goes in and bowls, and Chase in behind it, playing defensively towards mid-off, and there's no run. It's the end of Wood's over. That last ball just under 90 miles an hour. But Wood 14 overs, no wicket for 48. He's running in, he's hurling it down. Sometimes he's bowling himself off his feet. But so far wicketless. And West Indies coping with him. Anderson 19 overs, 2 for 42. And Bess 16 overs, 2 for 49, the main men today for England. Stokes picked up 1 wicket, 1 for 24 from 9 overs. He's bowled significantly less than the others. Now Bess is, in this spell, has changed ends. He started at the hotel end. He's going to bowl, well, he is bowling from the pavilion end now. And he's going to be bowling to Darrich. He's a good player of off-spin. If you look at his stats, they say he's a very good player of off-spin. Averages 79 coming into this match against off-spin bowling, and he's played Best well so far. Best bowls him. Darrich is forward, squeezing that away on the offside towards cover where it's picked up by Pope. And there's no running. Look at the field as well. There were 4 men back for Darrich. Long on, deep mid-wicket, deep point, and deep backward square leg. It's the one close catch of the slip. Best bowls. Darrich plays quietly. Goes to Pope again, wearing the shin pads in the covers. And there's no run. England took 2 quick wickets, but these 2 are holding them up again. Partnership developing between Chase and Darrich. Darrich overtaken Chase. He comes down the pitch and he hits that back to Best. Now, was that a chance? Away to his right hand side. It burst through his fingers and went up towards long on. I think it was. Stokes puts his cap over his face at slip. Darrich took it on. Definitely a chance. It went quickly, 2 hands away to his right hand side. The umpire was scrambling there as well because it was coming towards him. Umpire Kettleborough ducking. Instinctive caught and bowled chance, and it has gone down.
Would have been a brilliant catch.
1 run to the total, 228 for 5. This is Chase on strike, Best bowls to him. And Chase comes forward, defends it, blocks it, no more than that. Goes to Burns in the covers.
Yeah, the replays of this, Darrich has come down the wicket and he's middled it straight, just overhead high to Best, and the replay doesn't makes it look quite easy, but we need to see a real-time replay, I think, to be fair to Dom.
Definitely. Best bowls. Chase pushes it back to the bowler and there's no run. They always look straightforward in slow-mo, but
it's like when you stood at first slip and I dropped a fair few, and you stand there, especially with the crowd in it.
That's right. It's Best bowls to Chase. Chase leans forward, plays it to extra cover, and there's no run. It's the end of the over. Well, Best nearly making the breakthrough, or at least inducing the mistake, but he was unable to capitalise himself there. Difficult return catch away to his right, hit very hard. West Indies lead by 24. They are 228 for 5 with 4 overs to go until the new ball is available.
Yeah, so you dropped it, and the crowd went ooh to start with, and they don't really know what's happened. They're half watching, aren't they? Half. And obviously people can't quite see, has it carried, hasn't carried. And then the super slow-mo comes first onto the crowd, and then they see the ball, they see the nick, and they go, ooh. And then as the ball goes really slowly to you at first slip, and just as you drop it, as it looks on the replay, and then they just go, oh. And then you can hear, how's he dropped that? What has he dropped that? So speed it up and make it look a little bit hard, and it was.
Wood roaring in for a new over, bowls to Darrich. And again, he bowls himself off his feet there, driven by Darrich towards mid-on. It was very full, giving the ball the chance to swing. Play to mid-on, and there was no run. I also feel that about it's sort of the one. Television coverage these days is fantastic, and it's really advanced over the years. The one thing it doesn't do, and hasn't quite been able to do successfully over the years, is show the speed of the ball. Now, how fast the bowling is. You watch from behind the bowler's arm on TV, and it looks reasonably comfortable for the batsman. You go out and face it, completely different. Wood bowls short outside the off stump. Nothing from Dowrich there. He could have gone for the uppercut, but there is a man at deep backward point, and there's no run. Something I talked to Simon Hughes a lot about, who had that analyst role. And it's something that sort of eats away at him as well. He's saying, how could we do it? How could we show how fast the bowling is? And you actually do get appreciation of it if you're watching the game square with the wicket. You really do, especially with quick bowlers on. Sometimes you're watching a bowler like Wood bang it in, and it flies past the batsman's nose through to the keeper, and suddenly it's in the wicket keeper's gloves. You really do get appreciation of it. Not so much up and down if you're long on, long off. Wood bowls. It's pushed away by Dowrich into the offside towards cover, and there's no run. Because you're in the absolutely best position as a batsman to know how quick the bowling is. You feel it out there.
Yeah, I don't quite know how you do it, do you? Like, unless you somehow get some pads on and face Mark Wood, you won't quite know what it's like.
We need one of those. Everyone who's watching in the crowd to go out and face one of those simulators at the back at lunchtime and hurl it down at 92 miles an hour, and then you really appreciate what it's like out there. Now, it's really for that television audience I was saying that you always get appreciation of it. Wood bowls outside the off stump, clouted away by Dowrich for 4 through the offside. It was short and wide, and off it went. England have that man back at deep backward square, deep backward point, I should say. No chance at all for him. 26th boundary of the innings, 232 for 5. West Indies lead building, 28 now.
Yeah, the old ball, isn't the 78th, 77th over win. Just not coming off that wicket at all, and actually had plenty of time to quite a long way in front of the square, actually.
Yeah, it looked a really innocuous delivery, but it probably went down at 88, 90 miles an hour. Very well played by Dowrich. He's crouching, Wood bowls to him, keeps him honest, on off stump, defended by Dowrich towards mid-off.
Yeah, that was 89.8 miles an hour, and yet Dowrich made it look like a mid-70 mile an hour bowling, and it's credit to Dowrich for making it be able to do that. But it is quick. This is quick bowling, but I think the old ball, sluggish wicket, makes it. If you're at the whacker and he was bowling 88 miles an hour and 90 miles an hour, you wouldn't be quite as comfortable.
Well, the two really quick spells, or series of spells that Wood has bowled in Test cricket, came to the back end of the West Indies series and at the Wanderers. Wood bowls down the leg side, that's a quick enough delivery, but it was down the leg side, tried to flick it away and missed it, scooted through to Butler. 232 for 5, and somewhere like the Wanderers is where Wood would like to bowl week in, week out if he could. Where was that third Test match in the Caribbean? I was trying to remember now. Which ground was that played at? Was it St Lucia? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, the third Test in St Lucia. 232 for 5 at the end of the over.
He's got a stat on Roston Chase's struggles to get from 10 to 20. It took him 74 balls from when he hit a 4 to go from 9 to 13 to when he made it into the 20s. Since 2000, when the ball-by-ball stats go back to on CricViz, that's the third longest it's taken a player against England to get from 10 to 20. So an impressively dogged. Saqlain Mushtaq took 103 balls in the Test in November 2002, and Adrian Griffith took 83 in a Test in England for West Indies in 2000. So it's the longest for 20 years against England to get from 10 to 20.
Well, there we go. It has been a struggle for him. He's on strike again, best bowls. There's another dot ball, happy to defend it into the onside. That was Chase's 106th delivery. He's 24 not out. 11 runs in the afternoon session. 232 for 5. He's doing a valuable job for his side, and an important job to do here to get the team to the new ball as well. He dead bats that one away back up the pitch. You don't want to lose a wicket clearly just before the new ball, although sometimes teams feel they have to take advantage of the old ball before the new ball comes along, because you often feel the new ball, especially lower down, is worth a couple of wickets. When I say lower down, I mean if you've made inroads already. That one's flicked away by Chase towards mid-wicket. No run.
Maybe Best could just change the angle. A couple of these last couple of balls, he's not going to bowl many more balls until the new ball, so whether he comes around the wicket just to vary it up, just give Chase, try and maybe slide one across Chase.
Over the wicket, Best bowls to Chase, and Chase opens the face, and there we go. A run for Austin Chase. Moves him to 25. And West Indies to 233 for 5. All of these runs valuable for them as they look to build a lead. I mean, if you offered them a lead of 100 from here, would they take it? They probably wouldn't.
Definitely take a lead of 100 from here.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the minimum I'd want.
Best tosses that one up. Dowrich goes for it, drills it out to extra cover, straight to Pope. He's got the men back. Best, he had that drop catch in the previous over. Happy there to tempt Dowrich. As Alistair was saying, he's probably not going to bowl many more balls before the new ball is taken, and he'll have a rest for a while, trying to make the most of his time at the crease bowling. Here he is. Bowls to Dowrich. Dowrich plays it calmly back this time, picked up by Bess, and that is the end of his over. So 78 gone, probably one more from Bess. I imagine England will take the new ball straight away. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if not, he might go Denley for one over that end. Just a leg spinner, just something different to give the West Indies something to think about. Was it just before? Is tea at 5 to 4?
5 to 4,
It's
yeah.
10 minutes. I wonder whether they might wait till after tea to take the new ball. 2 overs. They're discussing something now. Ben Stokes and Jimmy Anderson in the middle of the wicket talking about something.
So the only thing with a Denley over is, I mean, it's a tight game at the moment, isn't it? It's suddenly if you bowl a couple of pies and you get knocked for 2 or 3 fours, suddenly the lead is 50.
I'm not sure how 2 or 3 fours on 29 is then get added on to 50.
Well, because they'll might score 1 or 2 runs in this over. Do you know what I mean? Though it's that psychological thing. Suddenly,
but it's just before tea. It's worth a gamble, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's probably worth. There's nothing worse. I think it's a batter there. You batted so well, and then suddenly the new ball's coming, tea's coming. Then just a bowler who's not a frontline bowler, and then your mind thinking, I can't get out to him. He might give you a free, but it might be worth a little look.
Wood bowls. Chase defends. Half in defence there, half in attack. He was looking to guide it into the offside, the left of cover. Burns stops it and then lobs the ball to mid-off. I mean, technically they could have got a run there if they wanted to, because it was lobbed by Burns to mid-off and dropped. It went behind mid-off fielder. Was it a dead ball?
Would you have taken a run there in club cricket, Simon? Would you have been through? Yes.
If we needed one to win, I would have done. Or we were one behind. I think I would have done that. I don't think it was a dead ball, was it?
Yeah, it's a dead ball.
You think?
Yeah, they did. I think you've got to start looking for a single, haven't you?
Wood bowls short. Oh, flies through. Chase drops the gloves, allows it to go past his right shoulder. Through to Butler.
He's played it well, hasn't he? We spoke probably when he first came out, and Mark Wood was bowling to him then. So he has had issues with a short ball in the past, and England have targeted it with him. But he's just that's a good quick ball as well. Joss has taken over his head and just dropped his hands, watched it. You get in trouble when you take your eyes off the ball.
2 slips in, 3 men back, 2 on the leg side, 2 saving, 1 on either side. Wood bowls to Chase. Chase forces away into the offside, probably for 2. Goes out towards deep cover. Fielder runs round from deep backward point, sending the return to Butler. 235 for 5. So the lead is 31. So when Joe Denley gets hit for those 3 fours in the next over, the lead will be 43, which is closing in on 50.
I've noticed with you, Simon, you like a slight exaggeration. Was it Lancashire got 950 and then got 830?
No, I said they scored 900, but I thought they had. But what was it? 850 was it? They got 856. Was that it, Andy?
It was 863.
863. No, I was underestimating.
You said 950.
I'm sure. No. I said they got. Did I say that?
Yeah.
I said they got 900. Wood bowls. Chase defends.
You'd be one of those batters, wouldn't you? When you're young, and you're like your mum and dad said, "How did you get on today?" And you played, and you said, "Oh, I got 40 odd," and really got like 31.
Honestly, actually, I thought
he's not denied it. He's not denied it.
I thought they got 900. 863 is not bad, is it? I mean, might as well have been 900.
You round up over 600, don't you?
235 for 5. The lead 31. And England making an adjustment in the field. They've gone from 2 slips to a slip and a 5th slip. Stokes has gone quite wide there, and he's also bringing their deep backward point round to deep point. Wood rushing in, bowls short. Chase is underneath that delivery, taken by Butler. 88.9 miles an hour, but often on the speed gun the short balls seem a bit slower because of how it's measured. It's a rapid delivery through to Roston Chase. You seem to have all the time in the world.
How is it measured differently?
Well, I think it's to do with, because if it goes into the pitch, it's got, if you look at the angles, I'm doing hand movements here to try to explain it. It's quite a complicated thing to explain, but I think short balls on the speed gun are slower because you go down and then up again, and the angle is different from a full delivery.
But isn't it taking...
That was 89.4 miles an hour.
But isn't the ball...
defended into the offside, end of the over, 2:35 for 5.
Isn't it... I don't know this at all, so is it not measured when it first comes out of the hand? It doesn't obviously reach the batsman at 89 miles an hour. It reaches the batter, it's obviously slowed down a lot more than it reaches the batter at 70 miles an hour, doesn't it? It's not 89 miles an hour when it goes past Darridge. I want to know, where is it taking the first 2 metres?
Well, that's a good question. I have to say,
you seem very clear with your angles and stuff.
Well, if the ball comes out of the hand at a different angle as well for a bouncer, because it's going to come out something like that, isn't it? Then perhaps that takes some of the initial speed off it. I don't know.
Well, surely it comes out of the hand at the same speed. It doesn't matter whether it's length or bounce.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we had 2 deliveries there, and one was the bouncer that flew through that was 88, and the next ball was full, and it was quicker.
I don't know.
Here's Best to bowl to Darridge, who drives. They're going with Best rather than Denley. Stopped at extra cover, and there's no run.
I'm hoping someone will be listening to this who's on Hawkeye and they'll tell us.
Yeah, that'd be useful. TMS@bbc.co.uk. 2:35 for 5. Last over before the new ball can be taken. Best bowls. Darridge leans forward and defends. Best puts his arms in the air there. Whether he thought he got through on the outside edge, not sure. Difficult to tell. Butler's obscuring us. Able to drift one past. Played with the outside part of the bat. Best moves in. Bowls to Darridge. Down the pitch and then defending. Best to his left picks up. Pleasant afternoon sunshine despite the cloud above, enough blue sky.
I need to go and find my sunglasses. It's bright in here.
Yeah, I think the sun really comes in the tea time session as well on this box. Huge glass frontage to it.
You come prepared. Your sunglasses are on already, Simon. Yeah. That's experience, isn't it?
Well, I did forget my hat, which is an error for this box, as I think we'll discover later on. Best bowls. Darridge back up the pitch. Best picks up and there's no run. Simon Hughes said speed is taken at point of release. Okay, Simon, if you're listening, so why is it true that short balls are on the speed gun slower than fuller deliveries? So that's an appeal from Best for something there as it goes through to, it's struck him on the pad actually.
Your first initial action. This is the first time you're on air with it. Not out.
Not out. England are thinking about a review. Didn't look quite right, did it? He played back a bit high.
Yeah, it's really hard for us to say, isn't it? You've got Ben Stokes and Jos Buttler in the way from where we're sitting. But I think you might be right. Just a bit of bounce from Dom Bess. We've seen the replay now. Leg side.
Yeah, leg side actually. He was playing back, a fraction of turn. I think probably height was okay there. It was more angle. England did not review it. On we go. Here is Bess. Pushes that one through. And Darridge gives himself some plays into the offside. And there is no run. Have we got time for one more over before tea? It's ticking round towards 5 to 4. No, the umpires have decided we do not have time for one more over. So that's it, the afternoon session. Are we looking at the Hawkeye on that last one? Yeah, missing leg stump. Yeah.
Another one, right, Simon, for you?
Well, that was, although I have to say that was guessing. But sometimes, when you watch, it just doesn't feel right for whatever reason.
You can always tell on the appeal, can't you? They're kind of begging for it rather than kind of convinced it was out.
235 for 5. 80 overs have been bowled, so the new ball is available after the interval. It's been a session of sort of hard graft from the batsmen and for the bowlers as well. 76 runs, 2 wickets, 33 overs. West Indies inching forward. They've got ahead and they've got 5 wickets left, and they've got Jason Holder to come, and they've got Dowrich and Chase entrenched at the crease. The individual scores at T and either off the scoreboard at the moment.
Dowrich has 30 from 48 balls. Roston Chase 27 from 115. Johnson bowling figures?
Have we got time for bowling figures? We have.
Anderson 2 for 42 from 19 with 9 maidens. Archer none for 47 from 17. Wood none for 54 from 16. Stokes 1 for 24 from 9. And Best 2 for 51 from 19 overs.